this fight. They had a press conference this week. Here's a flavour of what's to come.
I have everything to lose, really nothing to gain. So I got everything on the line. Just because you're 40-something years old, I don't feel that you're over the hill. And on February the 7th, I think everybody's going to be looking at me and say I'm 30-something.
Larry Holmes is my idol. I used to watch him fight. I always dreamed that one day maybe I get the opportunity to do what he's doing, to fight like him, have people recognize me like they do him as being a great champion and a great role model. Larry has great heart, all the determination in the world, and he's not back for the money. And we know that he's back because he missed the boxing game, and he gets a second chance, which a lot of people don't get second chances at proving or doing something that they knew they could have did better the first time they did it.
Well, I'm looking forward to that fight. That's quite a fight. How do you see that going?
Well, I'm going to tip an upset Larry Holmes on points.
Yeah, he's got
the
experience.
Drama, yeah, I believe he could actually do it, but then Mercer's got the power if Larry tires and he could get knocked out. But
that's right.
I'm still going to go. I'm going to rush up another little thing
bet on that.
Points. Yes.
A last message for Lennox?
Yes. Hey, Lennox, listen. Everybody that lives in Britain is supporting you, Lennox, and you are the best hope that we've had for 100 years, isn't it?
That's right.
Go ahead and do it, son.
All right, well, thanks for being with us, Gary.
Well, whatever it is, make sure you don't miss this one. A heavyweight showdown between two former world champions, Larry Holmes and the former Army Sergeant, Ray Merciless Mercer.
You go into battle, you either die or you live. And I'm living until I'm dead.
There you go, a ringside special Saturday the 8th of February, this Saturday 7 p.m. on Sky Sports. Ray Mercer against Larry Holmes.
You go into battle, you either die or you live. And I'm living until I'm dead.
Tonight on a ringside special we bring you Power versus Pride. The Power is Ray Merciless Mercer, the former Army Sergeant and former WBO heavyweight champion. The Pride is Larry Holmes, who at 42 years of age says he wants another crack at the world title. So there you are, confirmation of what we have in store for you tonight. A 12-round heavyweight showdown called Power versus Pride. Hello, you're watching a ringside special on Sky Sports, and when I say special, I mean special. Stay where you are in for a treat. With me in the studio for his views is Glenn McCrory. How are you?
I'm fine.
Good, long time no see. Where you been? What you been up to?
Well, I've been hiding away in my pub, doing a bit of business there and a little bit of acting and just keeping busy.
Making a living now that you've definitely decided to call it a day?
Yes, certainly.
Good. Just give me a line on tonight's fight. It promises to be intriguing.
I'm really looking forward to it because on one hand we've got Mercer, who I don't think is a top-line guy along with the Lewises and the Riddick Bows, but is very good and very strong. And on the other hand we have a past legend who unfortunately was sandwiched between Ali and Tyson, but you know, he can pull it out if he wants to, but personally I think he's a little bit old.
Well, we'll see that in a minute. Firstly, I must just bring up the subject of Chris Eubank. Unfortunately, in the headlines again, it is sad what's happened. Here's the headlines that were in the paper today. Involved in an accident, unfortunately. I mean, what does this guy have to do? He's just not having any luck, is he?
He certainly isn't. I mean, it's a tragedy. Obviously, our commiserations go out to the gentleman's family and all that, but it's bad for Chris. He's having a lot of problems. You know.
Yeah. We've got some footage of what actually happened yesterday. If you haven't seen it, he was on his way to Gatwick Airport with his two brothers to catch a flight to Jamaica, and unfortunately was involved in an accident. There's his brother Simon. He was involved in an accident where someone was tragically killed in his Range Rover. I just don't know what this guy's got to do, really. I mean, I do feel terribly sorry for him. The commiserations go to the family and to Chris. You know, we just hope things turn out okay for you. Anyway, sorry about all that, but must be said. Who would you go for in this fight tonight?
I would go for Mercer. He's younger, he's stronger. I think Holmes has had his best days. I mean, Holmes was a fabulous champion, but that was a long time ago. We've seen him destroyed against Mike Tyson 4 years ago now. So I think Mercer's probably got a bit too much strength for him.
Yeah, and he hasn't really fought anybody in the brief time that he's been back. He hasn't really fought anybody.
He hasn't, and he's struggled as well with some of the guys he's fought. You know, some ordinary fights have took Holmes a distance. So, you know, unless he can pull a miracle out, I'm not sure.
All right, well, we'll see. We'll take a short break now. Sit tight, don't move. Two former world champions in action, Ray Mercer v Larry Holmes, coming right up. Stay with us. Welcome back to Ray Mercer v Larry Holmes here on Sky Sports. Now, what about the two boxers? First, Mercer, the former army sergeant who only took up boxing to avoid a stint of military manoeuvres. He learnt his boxing in the army and before turning pro, managed to win a gold medal at heavyweight at the Seoul Olympics. Since turning professional, he has steadily worked his way up the rankings to become a legitimate contender. Here's his record. There he is, 30 years of age, 6'1.5". I think Holmes will have a significantly larger reach. 18 fights, 18 wins, 13 by knockout. Ray Merciless Mercer. Larry Holmes, not much you can say about that man. 6'3", huge reach advantage, but look at that. 56 fights, 53 wins, just the 3 losses. He'll have the edge on experience by a mile. Now, this is Larry Holmes' record from when he won the world title in 78. Turned pro in 73. Just look at some of these names. I mean, you remember some of these, Glenn?
You know, some very, very good names. Mike Weaver, what a fight that was. And Earnie Shavers, he got off the floor to come back from that one. Brilliant fight.
There's the Ali fight in 1980 when Ali retired. Burbick, Spinks. It's like a who's who of the heavyweight division, and he's,
unbelievable.
You know,
so many world champions in there as well.
This is all with the WBC title. And there were 16 successful defences of that before there was a controversy, and it was taken away from him. Then he won the IBF title, James Bone Crusher Smith, you remember, David Bay, Carl Williams. The loss to Spinks, which some say he won. Then the other loss to Spinks, inactive in 87. The fight against Tyson in 88, inactive for 2 years. And those are the 5 guys he's fought since his comeback.
Nowhere near the names that we've seen in the first part of his career.
No, that's right. 56 fights, 53 wins, 38 knockouts, just the 3 losses. Now, I mean, that must psych you out to some extent. Mercer must be psyched out. I mean, the guy, he adores the guy.
That's right. It's got to have some effect, even in the back of his mind. He will obviously look at what Holmes has done recently and say, well, you know, he's gone. But in the back of his mind, he's going to hope he's gone. Because if he's got any of that left, Mercer's got to think I'm in trouble. Because he was a fabulous fighter. He was underrated because he followed Ali. So, you know, he couldn't really... You know, he was never Ali, so we could never judge him like that, but he was a fabulous fighter.
Just put yourself in Mercer's position. If you were fighting someone that you admired for so long, would it not, you want to win, obviously, but would it not, you don't want to hurt the guy, you don't want to damage the guy. There must be that just little bit of psychological edge.
That's right. It must be very, very hard. You're sort of beating up on a hero. I know when he was in the same position Larry Holmes when he fought Muhammad Ali, and he didn't give his best performance because he was scared to hit Ali. You know, he'd worship him, he sparred with him, and he didn't really want to hit. So maybe that'll hold Mercer back a little bit.
Well, he could be overawed. Anyway, Larry Holmes' record speaks for itself, and we all know what he is capable of doing. What of the younger man, experienced in his own right, but not when you put him up against someone of Holmes' pedigree? Here's a few examples of the type of fighter that Mercer is. This is his fight against Kim Odom. Now, the thing with Mercer is he often gets on top of a fighter, but gets accused of not being able to finish the job. And he's swarming all over Odom in this fight.
He's all power. He doesn't really look to place his shots. He just wants to swarm on them and beat them and club them.
Now, he should have taken advantage of that, but didn't. But later in the fight, this will show that he is quite a powerful boxer, Mercer, and when the instant strikes, so does he. Now, he puts Odom down there. Odom actually got up, and Mercer won the fight on points, but the thing is, he should often take more of an advantage than he does. Now, this is the fight against Damiani. Now, if Holmes fights like Damiani does there, keeping him away with the jab, he'll never get to him.
That's right. That shows you, this fight showed that Holmes does have a chance, because Holmes' jab is superior to Damiani's, and yet Damiani gave Mercer all the problems in the world.
That's right. In the second round, in the next round, the 9th, it was a different story.
Look at that. Superb combinations. And when Mercer's in this position, he can't land. And part of it is because he's so close to Damiani. It's not where Ray gets his best leverage.
Nice shot by Damiani there with his right hand.
And a glancing blow. I don't think that was a big shot at all. And Damiani goes down and was given no indication of getting up.
He got it the eye, I think. Wow. My goodness.
That's it. A huge cut. Look his nose. I'm sure that's what happened.
Nowhere.
So Mercer was the WBO champion. He then fought Tommy Morrison. Morrison had been built up the great white heavyweight hope. What could happen? But the only thing is, no one knew about Morrison's chin.
And Mercer is more lively now. There's Mercer. Right, left. And Morrison is going to go down. They should stop this fight right now. The fight is stopped. The fight is stopped. Ray Mercer with a barrage stunned Morrison. And as he slipped to the ropes, Tony Perez stepped in and stopped it.
So Mercer retained his title in spectacular fashion, although some will say that fight should have been stopped a little bit sooner. Now, Glenn, you've seen that. Just sum up technically what we could be in for.
I think it's going to be a good fight. It could be similar to the Damiani fight with Holmes trying to use his jab. It's whether Holmes can keep that jab going, whether the legs can continue to carry him throughout the fight. He's got 12 rounds to go tonight. That's a long time against a power man like Ray Mercer.
And he hasn't done 12 rounds for a long time.
For a long time. And not against somebody who's young, strong, and really wants to do something himself.
He would be advised, some might say, to take a little bit of a tip from Ali when he fought Foreman and do a little bit of the old rope-a-dope.
Well, that could be. I don't know if he never did them sort of things before. It's whether he'll do them now.
He's never been 42 before, though, has he?
Sure, he's got to do something special.
Right, well, we'll see. Power versus pride, then. The power of the younger man, Ray Mercer, against the pride of the 42-year-old veteran, Larry Holmes. And you know, they were talking of the possibility of a matchup with George Foreman should Holmes win this fight. Well, let's take you straight to ringside at the Trump Plaza in Atlantic City and join commentators Mickey Duff and our own Ian Dark.
Well, this is the scene inside the Atlantic City Convention Centre on the boardwalk, 3 hours south of New York by road. Big crowd, and 42-year-old Larry Holmes makes his way to the ring, trying to resurrect his career at the grandfather stage. It would be absolutely remarkable if Holmes was to cause an upset victory tonight over Ray Mercer, who's just been stripped of his WBO title. Larry Holmes in his 57th fight tonight in a career that has spanned 19 years. He made his debut when George Foreman was world heavyweight champion in 1973, and the man sitting beside me, Mickey Duff, I know, gives him a real chance.
Yes, I give him a real chance. I think it's a case of styles, and I think he has the style to beat Mercer.
One of the questions will be, of course, does he have the legs as well? There is Larry Holmes' career record, just 3 defeats in 56 contests and stopped only once by Mike Tyson in 4 rounds in an ill-fated comeback in 1988. Well, here is Ray Mercer. This is a fellow who always seems to find a way to win. Even when he was being outboxed by Francesco Damiani, he found the punches to finish it. He started slowly against Tommy Morrison, and he destroyed him. Unbeaten in 18 contests. Late starter, Ray
Now, ladies and
Mercer.
gentlemen, before we go to our featured fighters this evening, let me introduce to you one of the all-time greats. He's right here in the ring at this time. The first American heavyweight to win an Olympic gold medal. He went on to become the undisputed and undefeated heavyweight champion of the world. Ladies and gentlemen, from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Smokin' Joe Frazier.
Frazier, who lost to George Foreman in the year that Larry Holmes started.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the Trump Plaza Hotel and Casino here on the boardwalk in Atlantic City, New Jersey, let's get ready to rumble! boxing in the heavyweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. He weighed in at 233 pounds. Wearing the white trunks with red trim, his professional record, 53 victories, only 3 defeats, 37 KOs. He ruled the heavyweight division for 7.5 years as its heavyweight champion. Ladies and gentlemen, from Easton, Pennsylvania, the Easton Assassin and former heavyweight champion of the world, Larry Holmes!
I think you might call that a mixed reception.
I think he looks remarkably well. And
his opponent wearing
they announced his weight, and he only appears to have put on about 10 to 12 pounds of what he was in his heyday, which I think is very good.
Newark, New Jersey, ranked number 5 in the world by the IBF. This 1988 Olympic gold medal champion is now 18-0 as a professional with 13 KOs, and he has held the WBO world title in this division. Ladies and gentlemen, the undefeated, merciless Mercer!
Those are the Mercer supporters. And just about to get their final instructions from referee Steve Smoga.
You gentlemen were given your instructions at the weigh-in. I want you to obey my commands at all times. I want you to respect the bell, and I want you to protect yourself at all times. Now touch him up. Let's rock and roll. Let's go.
Well, this is a fascinating cross-generation fight. Just about any fight with Holmes would be a cross-generation one, except with Foreman, of course. And here they go. It's due to go 12 rounds here. What has Larry Holmes got left? He's being pitched in now after 5 comeback fights against, well, frankly, nobody's, against one of the most dangerous men in the division in Ray Mercer, and a man we know who can hit. Holmes with a big reach advantage of 7 inches. He's got an 81-inch reach and always had a great left jab, Larry Holmes. Can he keep Mercer away with that jab? Mercer's often a slow starter, Mickey.
Yes, he is a slow starter. I don't think he boxes too well anyway, but he's a strong guy and he seems to start when the other man gets tired. But he's got off to an earlier start than he normally does. But maybe Larry is suffering from nerves and he has to settle down yet, as boxers usually do. That was a good right hand.
Good punch that from Holmes. Well, he's fiddling Mercer about as they work inside there. And Steve Smoga, the referee from Atlantic City, has to be a brave man to get in there. Mercer gets him with a good right to the body. Starting confidently enough here, Holmes. 3 punches, an appreciative little nod from Mercer. Not quite sure how to interpret that.
Well, he's getting hit with a few jabs, which was quite predictable. I'm more interested to see what happens after 2 or 3 rounds when Larry's legs begin to go a bit, how he stands up then. At this stage, he's doing okay, although he's losing the round. He just got hurt there.
He was shaken up by that one, all right, Holmes, and this is danger moments for him. And Mercer's got him where he doesn't want to be, Holmes. On the ropes, and he'll need all his experience and caginess here to cover up, parry those blows. And he's quite happy to stay there and counterpunch, but he looked to be rocking and rolling a bit when he was caught with that one, Mickey.
Yeah, Mercer's certainly winning this round. I mean, Holmes is throwing punches back here and there, some of which are landing on the gloves, but all the telling punches have come from Mercer so far.
Ray Mercer, stripped of his WBO title because he wouldn't beat Michael Moore, gets him with a good right uppercut there. Interesting first round. There's been no question of the two of them just playing it cautiously and having a look at each other. There was lots of action there.
Oh, certainly so. And I think Mercer comfortably won the round, although he got hit a few punches himself. But it was just about the type of opening round that one would expect.
You waiting just a little too much, all right? Take his jab from and work.
Hank Johnson in the corner. Been with Ray Mercer a long time. Now here's that action again. There's a good left jab. Real stiff jab it was from Mercer, and it did really just seem to buckle the legs of Holmes.
Yes, well, they're old legs, aren't they?
He was reeling across the ring there. I thought he was going to go down for a moment. That's all it was, jab.
Yeah, it's a good jab. And it caught, good jab, and it caught him right on the point. Sometimes it's not so much the power of the punch, it's where it hits you. And it seems to caught a nerve.
Mercer threw more punches in that round. Mickey giving that opening round to Ray Mercer. And we will look carefully here for signs of what stamina limitations Holmes may have at 42. We know Mercer can punch. He produced a completely vicious burst to dispose of Tommy Morrison. Well, that's more like the old Holmes, pumping out that left jab. That's what the corner have told him to do. Make his reach advantage tell, and try to keep Mercer off balance. Second round, due to go 12. This is the very arena where Holmes was put away by Mike Tyson in what was a sad night, and I thought that was the last we'd ever see of Larry Holmes, but back he came again.
Amazing. It's really amazing how, after all that time out, he's had the discipline to take all that weight off. He looks in reasonably good shape tonight, far better than he has in the first 2 or 3 fights that I saw in his comeback.
16 stone, 9 pounds, Larry Holmes.
That's not bad. He's about 6'4" tall, isn't he?
Yeah. Doing well with his jab in this second round.
Yeah, that's more like it's a slightly slower version of Holmes in his prime. That was a good right hand.
And in his prime, when he reigned for 7 years as heavyweight champion, he was an unfashionable and I thought underrated champion.
Yeah, he never quite got the recognition that he deserves. And you know, they used to say he gets no respect, you know?
That's because he came along right after Ali, of course.
That's right.
Mercer, in this round so far, is being outboxed by the old veteran. And that's not a bad right either from Holmes. He's much encouraged, and then he sinks a right into the body as well. Holmes round so far.
You'll notice, Ian, that Holmes doesn't take the full impact of Mercer's punches. He's ready to be counter-punched, and he's half blocking them. He's taking them, but he's not taking the full impact.
Yes, he's quite happy to play the counter-punching game.
Yeah, and when he lands with far more impact.
Coming up to the end of round 2, and I give this second round to Larry Holmes. He's looked good in this round. Good right to end it. Third round here, and in the second round Mercer threw more punches, but undoubtedly the smarter work was from Larry Holmes. Holmes, just for colour identification, is the one with the red band around his waist, and he seems quite content to let Mercer walk in and then try to counterpunch him arrogantly with his hands down by his side, leaving the open target.
I think some of that is unnecessary. It's showboating. I really think he would do even better if he kept his hands up a little bit. But so far he's doing very well anyway.
Ray Mercer, the former US Marine Sergeant, who was nearly 28 before he had his first professional fight. He's no spring chicken himself, 30 now. Holmes, look at that, he's arrogant, isn't he? He's just content to stand in the corner, wave Mercer in.
Well, he don't have too much legs to carry him around on. He has to conserve his legs by standing there, which is smart at his age.
Almost reminiscent of Ali's old rope-a-dope, isn't it, that?
Exactly. And look at those counter punches.
Very good right cross in there, and he's finding gaps in those high-held gloves of Mercer. Yeah, right. This is like the old Holmes, measuring you for size with the left and then coming in with the right cross.
Yeah, albeit a slightly slower version, but certainly like the old Holmes. And you'll notice, Ian, he's seeing the punches from Mercer coming better than he was. He's now anticipating what he's going to throw.
Oh, look at this from Holmes. He's talking in there as well to Mercer at times, and he's even talking to the TV cameraman in the corner. And he'll have to be careful. It's looking a bit open there. It's almost target practice for Ray Mercer. Mercer will have to be careful, of course, that he doesn't just punch himself out.
You're quite right. This round is very even for me so far.
This whole round has been fought almost on the same little square foot, and a very interesting round. Holmes staying in the corner, but I thought he did enough maybe to just take that one. Fourth round coming up here, and this is proving to be a fascinating fight. A lot of people thought that Mercer would just blow away the aging Holmes within 2 or 3 rounds, but it hasn't turned out like that at all, and there's no doubt Holmes has prepared properly for this fight. He's up for it. He's come in with a definitive game plan, and so far it's working reasonably well for him. But of course the question remains, how long can he keep it going? How much gas is there in the tank at 42 years of age?
This round is jabbing very well. It's almost like the old Larry Holmes jab. Now he's gone back to trying to make Mercer lead, but just now he landed 3 or 4 very solid jabs, which were, like the old Larry Holmes. You see, Mercer's now going forward, but no, that was a good punch.
Got through with the left, didn't he?
Yeah.
Holmes wants to buy a little time. He's taking his time getting out of there, and Mercer gets a bit irritated by it. And the referee wants a word with Ray Mercer about that. Holmes playing it so cagey, buying every second he can.
Yeah, I think he's a little tired now. He'll get a second wind in a moment, no doubt, but he's tired right now.
This is the round that Tyson put paid to him.
I wonder if he remembers this.
I should think he's been trying to forget it for some time.
Yeah.
Holmes always looks at his most effective, and he's throwing that left jab. But here he is again, taking root in a corner, allowing Mercer to unload on him a little bit. Oh, that's what Mercer would hope to do anyway, and Holmes looking to counter-punch.
Well, right now he's succeeding. Now that's better.
Holmes's punches look sharper, don't they?
Yeah, they're the sharper of the two. They're not the old Larry Holmes, but they're certainly sharper than Mercer's. Maybe not the same weight behind them, but they're sharper of the two.
Better punch economy. Good jab though from Mercer there. That just rocked Holmes' head back on his shoulders.
And they're good jabs.
Holmes is on something like $500,000 plus for this, and of course if he wins it and causes the upset, he's gate crashed his way right back into the world title picture. Suddenly he's a very big name again.
Yes, if he could win this, boy, it would give him a complete resurgence.
Thought that the winner might fight George Foreman. But there's an awful lot of talk in boxing, and we shall await developments. They've got to sort this one out first.
Don't let him rest. You letting him rest too much. Now, come on, let's get this man out of here. Come on. We don't need this. But that's because you letting him rest. Okay. Go ahead and work on him. You get him on out of there.
So they're coming out now for the 5th round. So far, so good for Larry Holmes. But is Mercer going to come on strong? Is he going to do to Holmes what he did to Damiani when he was being outboxed on that particular occasion?
I thought he was very lucky to beat Damiani. He was well behind, and he threw an uppercut which was going to miss, and it caught Damiani on the tip of the nose and broke it. I thought Damiani was very unfortunate to lose that fight.
Come on, boy!
He's talking to him in there. Holmes is talking.
He's saying to him, come on, punch.
Nice right uppercut from Holmes there, standing on the ropes. Oh, look at that, counter-punching him. And he's blocking the worst of Mercer's attempted punishment with his gloves as well, and then tying him up like this.
Step by step, come on.
He's making every single minute of his experience tell him.
Oh, yes, and he needs to, because he's now halfway through the fight, and he's getting tired, don't make no mistake about it. It's being fought at a fair pace too.
I think it's a quite deliberate ploy, Mickey, of Holmes to stand there in a corner like this, so that he's saving his legs as well.
Saving his legs and making the other, tiring out Mercer by making him do all the work, because half of it is ineffective. So far, this is probably the best round that Holmes has had.
Oh, he was almost hit there with the right counter from Mercer.
Just got out of the way.
The reflexes were just about still there to miss that one. Good right to the body there from Holmes.
And you notice, Ian, as the fight's going on, Holmes is getting his rhythm that bit more, and he's seeing the punches coming, which he wasn't before.
Good.
Larry Holmes with so much experience. He's been in with the likes of Ernie Shavers and Mike Weaver and Muhammad Ali, Jerry Cooney. Made 16 defenses in 7.5 years of the title. You learn a lot.
Incredible, yes. You certainly do.
That's it.
The spirit is willing, but will the body be for 12 rounds?
If Mercer lets him stay on the ropes, it will. You know, if I had anything to do with Mercer, I'd be telling him to get to the middle of the ring and say to him, come on, you come and fight me out here.
He looks a bit bewildered, doesn't he, Mercer? He doesn't quite know what to do about it. He hasn't got the boxing brain.
He's being given an old-fashioned boxing lesson. That's what's happening.
With a couple there right towards the end of the round.
Clearly Holmes' round.
Well, Larry Holmes, according to Mickey Duff's scorecard and to mine, is quite significantly ahead in this fight after 5 rounds, and he looks reasonably fresh there once they've toweled him down, and this was an example of his work. He looks quite sharp. He's obviously got no mobility whatsoever at 42.
Well, he has a little more. He has nowhere near the mobility that one really needs, but he makes up for it in experience and goading the other guy into making mistakes. That's exactly what he's doing. He's goading him along and he's saying, come on, punch and punch. And Mercer is biting the bullet. He's actually doing what he's told, almost in desperation so far.
Well, Larry Holmes, he won his first 48 contests, and it was in the 49th when he attempted to equal the great Rocky Marciano's unbeaten run that he lost for the first time to Mike Spinks, one of 2 defeats to Spinks, and the only other defeat on his record, that one we've been talking about, to Mike Tyson.
Incidentally, I didn't think he lost his Spinks in the first round. I thought he lost the second round, but I didn't think he lost the first.
They were both close-ish.
Yeah.
What is Ray Mercer going to be able to do to change this pattern? Because Holmes is starting to pick up the rounds, and there's a more confident look about him, and just occasionally he's swapping verbers with Mercer.
Yeah, I don't think Mercer's answering. I think he's too bewitched at the moment. Quite an incredible performance on Larry Holmes' part so far.
There are times in there when the clock almost seems to be saying 1982, not 1992.
That's right, it certainly does.
The punches there though from Mercer. And Holmes can't afford to get too arrogant, because he definitely has a punch, Ray Mercer, and he's starting to get through with a few of these headshots in this round. He's even got the nerve and the cool to start doing interviews with the television cameraman. That is quite amazing.
Actually, it's quite clever. It's clever gamesmanship, because he's giving himself the rest he's been looking for. He's getting a little tired now, and Mercer is biting the bullet. He's doing exactly what he's told to do. That's what you call dictating the fight. He's dictating the pace.
But what a master stroke of psychological warfare as well, to say virtually to Mercer, look, I'm not only winning this fight, I've got time to chat to the cameraman as well.
Yeah, well, Mercer's giving him time, isn't it? You know, there's an old saying in boxing, you can only fight as good as the other guy lets you. And so far, Mercer's fighting Holmes' fight, but Holmes is making him do it, and good luck to him.
Well, a lot of people have rubbished the comeback of Larry Holmes. A lot of people gave him no chance here, but so far he's putting up an astounding performance.
Really astounding.
Can you keep it going? Mercer amused and outfoxed and outthought so far. Holmes get those arms up there to parry those blows. Some get through, but they don't land very clearly.
He clearly won the round, Holmes. Clearly won it.
Well, I've got Holmes quite a long way in front now. We're at the halfway point of the contest, and there is, of course, always the stamina question about Larry Holmes. But if it should continue in this vein, we really could have a big upset on our hands, because Ray Mercer's taken a gamble. He's told, he's virtually said to the WBO, I'll be happy to help you go out of business. I don't need you anymore. I can go for the real heavyweight title, but it all might backfire.
Well, at this stage, I've got Holmes ahead 4 rounds to 1 with 2 even. With 1 even, rather. I've got him 4-1 and 1 even ahead.
Give him a shot.
That doesn't necessarily mean it is so, but that's how I have it.
Well, I have him 5 rounds to 1 ahead, Holmes. So we're seeing it roughly the same.
Yeah.
Coming out now for the second half of the fight, Larry Holmes, the 42-year-old with the red band around his waist. That was a fantastic right uppercut from Holmes.
Great combination, a right hook and a right uppercut. He threw it and turned it. That was an elbow from Mercer on the blind side of the referee. That was a good uppercut.
Larry Holmes rolling back the years. There are shades of Zaire in there, aren't there?
Yeah, they really are.
That night when Ali let Foreman punch himself out and then knocked him out.
I'm gonna get him.
I'm gonna get him, Holmes tells the television man standing with his camera right beside the ring. Another right uppercut from Holmes.
He's hurt there, you know. He's really hurt.
And Mercer does look marked up around the face now. He looks quite swollen. Holmes once again measuring for size. Ray Mercer, the 1988 Olympic heavyweight champion. Unbeaten so far in his professional career, but being given all the trouble he can handle by old man Larry Holmes.
He's fought this fight on the ropes, and he's saved his legs incredibly well. Look at those combinations. He gets hit here and there, but he manages to nullify most of the punches that Mercer's throwing. That's a good right hand of the body. You see, whatever came back, he got his arms up to most of it. He's breaking one or two rules, but, you know, it's gamesmanship, I suppose. He's holding the ropes, which is getting away with, but that seems to be common practice these days in the States.
There was one particularly good right hand that did get through from Mercer.
Yeah. Good right
from Holmes. And Mercer stands off when that lands and wants a bit of time himself. And now it's Holmes who's coming forward. That trademark little move of Larry Holmes, where he kind of paws you with the left hand and measures you for size for the right that follows. It's the 7th round here in an increasingly fascinated Atlantic City Convention Center.
I'm amazed at the referee allowing, you know, that's against the rules to hold a grab in a guy's face, but I suppose it's got to one of those fights where everything goes.
7 rounds gone, Holmes in charge. Problems for Ray Mercer.
Power Stick, the new white stick from Sure, contains a deodorant which actually responds to changes in body heat. The harder you work, the harder it works. Whatever your day demands. New Sure Power Stick, power protection on demand.
A closely fought classic full of skill and determination. A chance to see the 1987 Challenge Cup final. In association with Stones Bitter, Halifax pitted against St Helens. Sunday at 6, Sky Sports.
8th round coming up, and if Larry Holmes is going to tire in this fight, we are coming into the stage where it might happen, and don't rule out the possibility that this could all be turned around in one barrage from Mercer.
You know, Ian, Larry Holmes looks better now than he did when the fight started. He looks sharper and in better shape. It's amazing, but he's got his confidence and he's got his rhythm going, you see.
The motivation for Larry Holmes' comeback, no doubt about it, is money. All his business ventures in his hometown of Eastern Pennsylvania have hit a particularly rocky road, and well, he wants to make some bucks, and he'll make some very fast bucks if he can win this one, because there'll be more big pay nights down the road for him.
Oh yeah, not too many, but you know, the kind of money these guys earn, 2 good paydays would put him in luxury again if he didn't choose to become a businessman.
Well, Ray Mercer realized when he went into this fight it was something of a hiding-to-nothing fight for him. He said, the way I see this, I'm going to beat a legend, but is he going to beat him? He reckoned, and he asked, does Holmes have one good fight left in him? Answer, yes. Here it is.
Yes. It's certainly so. You know, right now, Mercer almost looks like he's given up. He's just going through the motions. Look at all the jabs are landing, and Larry's getting hit less now than he was early in the fight.
Looks more mobile now, Holmes. Yeah. He's prepared to go centre ring, not standing on the ropes. Rather a tired, leaden look and a clueless look about Mercer at this stage.
Larry's almost shuffling around like an old man in his slippers, but it's still working. That was a good left hook he got hit with.
Mercer's done does score with a couple of jabs. Back comes Holmes with his, though. Be interesting to see whether the three judges scoring at ringside are seeing this as clearly for Holmes as Mickey Duff and I are. We have him well in front at this stage. That's a good right, though, from Mercer. He's having a better round here. That wooden clunking noise means last 10 seconds, signal to the corners and the boxes. Right cross from Holmes on the bell, but I think maybe Mercer might just have squeezed that one, Mickey.
Not for me, not for me. I suppose you could call it even. I certainly didn't think he did enough to win it.
Get him out there, keep him out there. You got the left hand working.
Opinions are what make the world go round in boxing. You'd never find two people who've seen a fight the same.
No.
Hit him with two now. Bing, bing.
I thought he got hit with one or two clean shots, but by and large, he hit Mercer far more times than Mercer hit him. That was a good left hook. I remember that one. But he got hit with a lot of jabs.
Some of the action again from that 8th round. The jab from Holmes, the right from Mercer. That right didn't connect. So the gamblers who've coming off the boardwalk here and out of the casinos, who've driven down from New York for the weekend, are certainly getting their value here. They're paying up to $300 for their ringside seats, and if you want to watch this in America, it would cost you $20 on the pay-per-view system. Look at that right from Holmes right at the start of round 9. Fast start. That caught Mercer by surprise. No signs yet, Mickey, of any significant slowing up by Holmes.
Oh no, not at all. And for me, he'd have to get knocked out to lose. There's no way he can lose a decision.
There's still 4 rounds, or nearly 4 rounds anyway, of boxing in this fight. A lot could still happen. And that really is the crucial question now, whether Holmes is going to fade at his advanced years.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised at this stage if Mercer isn't more tired than Holmes. He looks the more weary of the two.
He's thrown an awful lot that's landed on elbows and gloves and has been made to miss with it, hasn't he, in the early rounds particularly.
Yeah, and he's put a lot more effort in early on than Holmes did. Larry was conserving his energy. He's stealing time all the time.
Mercer getting through in a couple there. Holmes was always pretty durable. Even when he was on the floor, he used to get up to win. I remember one remarkable occasion against Ronaldo Snipes when I thought for all the world that he'd been knocked out, and he got up at 9, still won the fight. And look at him now, and people beginning to rise to this performance from Holmes. It really is remarkable.
He's actually backing Mercer up now. He's actually dictating the pace.
Well, he couldn't cope in 1988 with the speed and power and ferocity and intensity of Mike Tyson, but Ray Mercer is a rather more ponderous case.
Yes, I'm afraid there's no comparison.
And in the process of all this, Mercer's own limitations are being underlined, aren't they?
Yeah, look at that jab he just got. He threw one of those old Muhammad Ali jabs. It was a good flick. And landed right there. You go again. Look at that. Almost like a 19-year-old.
Well, 19 years is as long as he's been boxing as a pro. It's amazing, isn't it? Real snappy with the jab. Mickey's right in this round, Holmes. Perfect range with it. Boom, boom,
brilliant round.
Into Mercer's head right the way through the round. And anyone who scored that for Ray Mercer has no business scoring boxing matches.
I agree. No, that was clear. That was probably the clearest round of the fight.
Like the right hand to the body. First you pop him with the right hand to the body. Then you
He's
start
very
fighting.
tired and he looks dispirited, doesn't he?
Then come out with the right hand. You throw on one.
Well, I don't think he needs an accountant to tell him that he's behind on points. I think he's well and truly sensitive.
You go do it.
You're going to do it?
No doubt.
Awful lot of people talking in that corner as well. They could do with just one. Look at that right hand by Holmes as well. Just a sample of his work in a very impressive 9th round. If anything, Holmes is coming on stronger all the time.
Oh yeah, well and Mercer's allowing him to go at his own pace. That's the most important thing that's happening here. Look at this, he's doing the Muhammad Ali now.
He's dancing and moving. Next thing you know, he'll be doing the shuffle. All over the world, 42-year-olds will be lifted by the sight of this, and older. Mercer looks tired and laboured. Resorting to some fairly eccentric forms of defence, but whatever he tries in this fight seems to work.
At his age, whatever you can get away with, you're entitled to. It's quite incredible.
Holmes has used that 81-inch reach and 6 feet 4-inch frame to perfection. Use those advantages really well, snapping out that jab. Look at him blocking those punches. None of those landed, those punches from Mercer.
No, just the one on the ear, the very last one, and that was only a slap anyway.
Holmes is getting his arms up in a kind of crisscross way. It's very hard to find a way through. Next thing you know, Joe Frazier, Henry Cooper and Jersey Joe Walker to be lacing on the gloves again.
Oh, that was a good right hand.
Still, Holmes on top, 10th round. Only 2 to go after this one.
And it's a good fight to watch too.
Ray Mercer just does not have the tools, the speed, or the variety to find any solutions, it seems to me.
No, he's run out of, on top of everything else, he's run out of steam as well. Everything he's doing now is he's doing in desperation. All the zip has gone.
What he is, though, is strong and quite powerful as that round comes to an end, and it was another one for Holmes, who's walking away with this at the moment.
Starting this Sunday, the Sunday Times brings you a detailed weekly TV and radio listings magazine with intelligent comment to help you plan what to watch or listen to or miss. The new free television and radio listings magazine with the Sunday Times every week from Sunday.
The Italian League, unrivaled in its color, flair, and extravagance. Catch the big game between the top two, Milan against Juventus, on Sky Sports, Sunday at
8. Round 11 coming up then. Larry Holmes with the red band around the waist. On top here, on our scorecards anyway, against Ray Mercer. light on his feet, Holmes.
He looks better now than when the fight started. He's got his rhythm going.
Well, we saw George Foreman put up some performance in this ring to take Evander Holyfield the full 12 rounds for the world heavyweight title last year, and now we're seeing another one from another 42-year-old. The first, what you'd call really live opponent in the 6-fight comeback of Larry Holmes, and he's producing the goods.
Slippery in there.
Mercer's come forward a lot, and if you want to score points for people coming forward, fine, but I'd say so what? He's been counter-punched all night.
Well, he's coming forward, but he isn't throwing any punches going forward. And those he's thrown, 50% of them have landed on the arms or the elbows or the back of Holmes' head, not on the target. And he hasn't been terribly effective with the punches that have landed. He's throwing arms more than punches. I think he's just as glad to hang on right now, Ian, as Larry is.
Well, between the rounds, the Mercer corner were saying it's too close to call, it's too close to call. Maybe they were just trying to G him up.
I don't know what fight they've been watching.
I think they must have been reading a book, I think, during the rounds. But I guess when you're a cornerman, you have to try all art forms of psychology. You'd know about that, Mickey.
Exactly. Well, sometimes there are some fighters you mustn't tell they're losing. They give up. You've got to tell them they're doing well, even when they're not doing as well.
Of course, Mercer has never been a loser before.
No. Well, I think he's about to find a new experience.
End of the 11th round. There's only 3 more minutes for Larry Holmes to last out. And there are some of the oldest active ex-champions. Sol Manby, with 44 years, great old campaigner, and a real artist he is, leading the way there. George Foreman, Larry Holmes.
Keep that body down and shoot the
list. Let's hear what they're saying in the
body down and shoot the right hand over it when he come in like that. Are you the champ? You the champ. You got it. What time is it, fellas? Home time. Home time. Let's go. Don't get careless. Come on, hit him, boy. You can do it. Keep pushing out one bang bang.
This is the best and unbelievably the
3 more minutes to go. Look at Holmes there, sensibly taking every single second of the break, and a little more.
Exactly.
No prizes for bravado. He's learnt that. Last round here. On our scorecards, Holmes is winning this. There's no legislating for how the judges are seeing it at all. We'll have to wait for that. But by our reckoning, Mickey, Ray Mercer needs the knockout.
Oh, Ray Mercer's needed a knockout for at least the last 5 or 6 rounds.
Same pattern. Mercer trying to find a way through.
He just can't impose himself on Holmes. Holmes finds a way to just nullify virtually everything he does. See?
Just knows too much for him.
Yeah, too experienced, and he has all the physical advantages too, Ian. He's taller, he's got longer arms. He has one deficit, and that's the age. Otherwise, he's got everything in his favour.
Well, there have been times before when Ray Mercer has been outboxed, but somehow, on those occasions, he's found the punches to nullify all of that. but not this time, not against Larry Holmes, not so far anyway, and only 1.5 minutes remaining. We could be about to witness one of the more astonishing boxing stories of the modern era here.
Yeah, a modern miracle.
Those fans who gave Holmes something of a mixed reaction on his way in, I sense now are solidly behind him. And if he wins this, is going to be right there in the shake-up with the Holyfields and the Foremans and Moores and Lennox Lewises and Riddick Bowe's, all the others up there in the heavyweight picture. And look at that. Holmes screams out. I don't know what that was about. He knows he's in the home straight now, Mickey.
Oh yes, he's goading the guy now, and also he's tired and he's bluffing him out of it. A little bit of showing off, and deservedly so.
There's the countdown on the bottom right of your picture, the last 10 seconds of the contest. Mercer comes forward still throwing punches, but punches with no great effect. Larry Holmes with more at the end, and that was a great performance from Larry Holmes, and I'll be amazed if he doesn't pick up that decision. He thoroughly deserves to, but we await the scoring of the three judges. It's not what Mickey Duff and I think, but they were certainly seeing something very, very different to us here at ringside if they've given that to Ray Mercer. Unbelievable stuff, really, wasn't it, Mickey? That
unbelievable. I've given Mercer one round, the first, and I gave him a couple even. I gave the third even and the 8th even. Outside of that, I've given everything else to Holmes.
Yeah, I gave Mercer the first, and I certainly gave him the 8th round as well, which I know you didn't, and a few others even. But I think I've got Holmes ahead here by 6, 7 points, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
So they're now collating the judges' scorecards. If Ray Mercer has been beaten, it's going to set him back a while. He's going to have to come back with a few comeback victories. Maybe he can do that, but his limitations quite badly exposed there. And Larry Holmes, whose comeback, like that of George Foreman before him, had been ridiculed by an awful lot of people, has put up an astounding performance there. Lasted the distance well. Bob Arum is telling him it was a great show. There's Michael Buffer in the background. Bit of tension now as we await and still looking at those cards. Any moment we shall get the official verdict here. Terrible moments, of course, for the Foxers as they wait.
I have it 119, 111.
Here it is.
We go to the scorecards. Phil Newman scores the bout 117 to 112. Eugene Grant scores the bout 117 to 111. John Potteray has it 115 to 113 for the winner by unanimous decision from Easton, Pennsylvania.
Larry Holmes at 42 has come back with a victory, and look at him being hugged in the ring. Well, what a fairy tale this is, and he looks as if he wants to break into tears of emotion right there. You can't believe it. Few gave him a chance. Mercer is beaten for the first time in 19 contests, and suddenly, and quite incredibly, Larry Holmes is back knocking on the world heavyweight title door. What is it? 7 years since he lost to Michael Spinks. You just can't really believe what's happened here.
Well, I did tell you that it was special. Now, just pick a word, Glenn. I mean, fairy tale, a miracle.
Sensational.
It was sensational.
He needed a miracle and he found one. I don't know where he pulled it up from. I think a lot of people would have said Mercer would have won this fight. The kid was an Olympic champion, very strong, and he upset the form book in fairy tale fashion. It's fabulous.
I was one of them. Must admit, I did tip Mercer to do it. So did a few others. Gary Mason was right. You were wrong. A few others were wrong. It was a remarkable performance for someone of his age. He just took control, didn't he?
What I really liked about it was, for the first time, he didn't do that when he was champion. He showed, some showmanship, and he never did that before. And all of a sudden, I think that's what will bring the big crowds in for a Foreman fight, which will be a spectacular. Now, all of a sudden, you've seen Larry Holmes out there, talking to the cameraman and things like that. Fabulous stuff.
Yeah, huge, absolutely huge. I can't. Just made it for me. Fantastic. We'll take a short break, but don't go away, for we'll have an exclusive interview with Larry Holmes, which you shouldn't miss. Well, before we hear from Larry Holmes, what about poor old Ray Mercer? He'll have to rethink his game plan now. All hopes of a shot at the title have been removed. In the post-fight interview, he was first asked how he thought he did.
I feel a better man won tonight, Larry Holmes. He didn't fool me. I never said anything bad about him. I knew he'd come to fight. And the man used a lot of experience, and it's a great learning experience for me. I've never heard of one fighter losing and couldn't come back. Larry lost, no problem. I'm in the game, I'm making money for the game, and I'm the man to beat. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going back to the gym, train hard, and you young fighters out there learn from me tonight.
What do they got to learn?
They got to learn not to take anybody for granted, and they got to learn to get in here, experience, you got to respect the experience and everything.
Are you saying you took Larry Holmes a little for granted?
I didn't take Larry Holmes lightly. Everybody else took him lightly. Maybe the people who were saying it really got to me a little bit, but the guy, he was ready, man.
What do you have to do to beat him next time?
I got to learn how to box. I got to go back to the gym. I got to learn to work on counters off the jab, which we've been working. Maybe we need to work on a little more. And a little more stamina. We trained up there at Great Gorge, which is a great training place. It was kind of cold. Ain't no excuses. I lost to the better man tonight. But I'm not finished.
Well, he said there, Glenn, that he's going to have to go back to the gym to learn. To me, in that fight, he didn't box any differently to as he had done before, but he wasn't allowed to fight.
He wasn't. I think a little bit he was out-psyched as well. We talked about it earlier. Maybe he thought Holmes could be, he respected Holmes too much. And at times, he went in and then he stood back and looked at him. And I think that was on his mind a little bit. I don't know, he didn't seem to have the same fire. He let Holmes mess him about too much.
There was one point when he looked absolutely mesmerised. He got caught with the right hand and he just sort of stood, dropped his hands and said, well, what have I got to do?
That's right, as if, how's this guy hitting us? And there's a fighter in there, and it doesn't matter how old Holmes is, he's still throwing punches. But I think Mercer, just in some ways took him too lightly. In some way, when he was in the middle of the fight, was hypnotised by him.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what he does. As you've seen, a sensational upset. Larry Holmes, veteran of some 20 world title fights, at the age of 42, right back in contention with today's heavyweights. Sky Sports caught up with him exclusively in Atlantic City. After the fight, here's what he had to say.
Let me ask a question about round 7. You hit Ray with a couple of devastating rights in the round. People started chanting your name. Was that a round where you knew you sort of had the fight going your way?
No, I didn't pay the people no mind. I just tried to get Ray out of there. But the guy is strong. I wanted him to punch, and when he got tired of punching, I wanted to start. And that's what happened. And a few times when he started to punch, I wanted to punch with him, just to stay even with him.
It seemed like he couldn't land that many blows even at close range when you were in the corner. Couldn't land. Were you surprised?
No, I'm a veteran. I know all the tricks. I know exactly how much to move and what to do to make him miss, and that's what I did. It's not that I'm a slouch or that I'm something great. It's just that I know boxing, and maybe people now will give me the credit, for knowing boxing.
Do you think the credit really goes to your ring smarts? It looked like in round 6 a little bit you were yelling at Akbar at ringside, looking at the camera. I mean, were you just sort of playing with the confidence you've acquired?
No, I was just doing my thing. I was having fun. If you're gonna fight, you gotta have fun. I mean, it can't be all fight and no fun. You gotta enjoy it, and I enjoy it. I know how to do it. It helps me relax now.
You mentioned respect and get the respect you've been waiting for. Was it a new feeling to have the crowd pulling for you?
Yeah, it was great. They booed me early and I started crying, but no, it was great. People are fickle, and it makes you feel good when people are on your side, yes.
You mentioned you were going to use the jab a lot, but you came in with that right. Was that part of your plan to use that right?
Well, he was more aseptic to the right hand, and I just used it.
Where do you think you go from here? Is it a George Foreman fight?
I'm looking for Evander Holyfield, and if not, then we'll go with George Foreman. But my preference is to fight for the championship and become the champion once again. And I think Evander Holyfield should fight the best fighter out there today. That's me.
Were you sure it was going to be you a few hours ago?
Yeah, I was sure when I signed the contract. I had confidence. I thought that would be the best fight for me.
Chirac, you're telling me. What's the difference, Mari Holmes, between 32 and 42?
I'm smarter. I don't say all the crazy things that I said when I was 32. I learned to keep my mouth shut at 42. So I'm a much mature man and also a much mature fighter than I were.
Smarter in the ring and out?
I'm smarter in the ring, and I know I hope to be smarter out of the ring too.
What did it feel like to be back in the ring one last time, hearing your name as heavyweight champion of the world?
That's my ultimate dream, is to become the champion. There's a new chapter in the book, and I want people to realize that, you know, it ain't nothing in me but fight, and I will fight with all of my life inside my body to become the champion of the world again. And that's why I'm begging or promoting or whatever you want to call it, trying to get an opportunity to fight for that championship.
Glenn, interesting to see. And a few key words mentioned there. One was respect. He's always wanted respect and never had it.
That's true, right from the early days. Just because he came after Ali and people didn't appreciate how good he was, because he didn't have that charisma. And now, with age, he seems to have it now.
That's right.
I mean, in that fight, he sparkled.
Not only was he after Ali, he came between Tyson.
Between Tyson.
He couldn't win either way, could he? Front or back.
That's right. And he was a great champion in his time. But it's nice to see him doing them little bits and showing that bit of charisma and enjoying it. I mean, he used that word a few times, how much he was enjoying it.
Yeah, having fun.
So the pressure's off him now. It's all a bonus. Everything's, you know, he's just going out there to enjoy himself and try and grab what he wants.
Right. Is it conceivably possible, in your mind, he could fight and beat Holyfield?
No.
Put it on
Struggled on that one. I don't think so. I think he did well there. I don't think Mercer is still the class of the Holyfields, of the Riddick Bows, of the Lewises, of the Riddick. I don't think he's in that class. He's good, but I think he was the odd man out, and he beat him. I don't think he's ready for the top line. I think he'll look for a payday against George Foreman, and then another payday against Holyfield, and he'll lose.
Yeah, right. Let's have a sort of a close look at some of the things that happened in the fight that were interesting. The first thing was the first round. Now, he got caught a jab. It was only a jab.
It wasn't. He stumbled pretty badly off that. I don't know whether he was off balance or what it was, or maybe he was just caught cold. You know, because Mercer did throw a good solid jab throughout the fight.
He looks groggy. He looks on his, you know,
he did.
His legs akimbo.
He certainly did. It was right on the button. At first, I just thought it was a slip, but he went all the bits there. He pulled himself back together and didn't get caught with anything after that.
And that goes back to the point we made before the fight, that Mercer is often accused of not capitalising on his opportunities, and that was one of them.
That was definitely one of them, and he was just too slow to see it. And a couple of times he hurt Holmes with good shots, and then stood back and had a look at it.
Well, the next bit I want to look at is the rounds sort of 2, 5 and 6, where Holmes, he took charge. He was on the ropes, he was trapped, but he was fighting well on the inside, landing, and I think this point Mercer realised he couldn't control the guy.
Well, this is where Holmes was really using his experience. He was fighting inside, he was letting Mercer try and throw things and missing, and then he's come back with good counters. And I think this was the important part of the fight where he really took Mercer's heart away. Mercer was so frustrated.
What a combination. 3 punches, square on the button. Mercer's thinking, what have I got to do?
That's exactly right.
And there was nothing that he could do.
See, with other fighters, Mercer has pushed them back to the ropes, and I mean, fabulous the charisma there. Mercer's pushed them back to the ropes, and they have no what to do. All of a sudden, he's with a guy who knew what to do when he was on the ropes.
Yeah, to take time out and to look at the cameraman and sort of put him away and just say, look what I'm doing here, son. Distract Mercer, bang, straight in with a punch.
Well, he's telling Mercer and he's telling himself, I'm the boss.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I'm doing.
He certainly was at that point. Towards the end, I mean, they were trading quite big punches. There was a couple of big right hands that went in towards the end of the fight. Now it's round 8. What was that? There's a big shot from Mercer. Another left.
He had some success with the left hook, but it was good to see that Holmes took all them big shots. He took some good shots, Holmes. You know, for a man of 42, he did well.
Yeah, he did very well. But similarly, Holmes landed a few of his own. Look, everything comes off the jab. Beautiful. 2 jabs.
2 jabs.
Great right hand.
I mean, that was the key when he was going really good. He had a beautiful straight right hand and a great jab, and he threw it very well there. And he got the confidence, you know, from round about 7. you could see he was enjoying himself. It all started to come then. He got better as the fight went on.
Right. You put yourself on the line, he wouldn't beat Holyfield.
I don't think
If he fought Foreman, the combined ages would be 85.
Unbelievable.
I mean, it is really. How would you see that going? Because that, if you saw in the corner, Aram said the contract's as good as signed.
Yeah. Well, I think that would be a tremendous fight. You know, I'm looking forward to that one. I don't know. I mean, the wild cards together, anybody's fight, be a spectacular.
And it'd be so. I mean, it'd just be. Everyone want to see that.
I mean, 43 and 42 together. I'm going to retire for 10 years and I may come back.
They go Glenn who?
I have to say that now.
So Mercer, where do you think Mercer should go?
Well, Mercer, obviously he's got to go back in the gym. I think he's got to go straight back in with a big fight. He's got to shout for a Lewis or a Bow, and he's got to hope he can pull one of them fights and do the business with his big shots. But I don't think he can go. I don't think he's got the time. He's 30. I don't think he's got the time to go back to the drawing board and try and polish up the skills. He's got to use what he's got, try and get back in with a big fight and bring something out.
Yeah, there was a song that a certain lady around about the same age as Larry Holmes wrote. If I could turn back time by share, it's kind of appropriate in a way, isn't it?
That's right. Oh, they could have played that through the fight.
Because he did.
It was Larry of old.
It was a miracle.
Fabulous.
And it was sensational to watch here on Sky Sports. Thanks for being with us.
Tex says he's going to knock you out. Talks like he believes it. Give him any chance at all?
Well, you heard that before, Howard. All fighters thinking that they can go in and knock a person out, but Tex is fighting the fighter that he never would have dreamed that he was going to fight before in his life. I'm going to get Tex Cobb a boxing lesson. I'm going to make him drunk before I mug him, and it's going to be like that all night long.
In other words, the fight plan's obvious. Use the jab, use the ring, cut him the ribbons, and finally put him away.
If I can, Howard, Tex Cobb is known to take a good punch. He's durable, and I just got to take his strength away from him. If I can take his strength away from him, I will knock him out. I don't feel that he's a better fighter than anybody that I've fought. I don't feel that he's good as a lot of fighters that I've fought, but I know that he's durable, he's going to be there, and he's after what I worked so hard for. That's the heavyweight championship. I'm expecting a good fight.
It seems to me, on a career basis, Larry, and we've been together so long, you have two problems. One, advancing years. Two, not taking your opponents too lightly. And maybe three, finding somebody to fight. Now, do you cope with those problems in your own mind?
Well, I know my age is getting old as far as fighters go at 33 years old, but I'm a healthy 33. Muhammad Ali fought until he was 40. I feel that I have taken care of myself better than Muhammad Ali, and the whole game is that I fought everybody out here to fight, and I'm still willing to give other fighters the opportunity to try to take my title away. But that does not bother me. I'm doing things that I like. Until I don't like to do it anymore, I'll back down and let somebody else have it. But right now I feel good about myself, and I'm going to continue to do it until I no longer feel good about it.
The final problem, though, continues to be incentive. You've already told me you've fought better fighters than Cobb in the past. How can you get yourself any incentive for this occasion?
Two things, Howard. My mind and my body. That's all I have. And I know if I don't take care of these two things, and I know Cobb will try to do something to it. So this gives me an incentive. This incentive to be heavyweight champion after 40 fights, after 41 fights. The incentive to be able to go and grow and let my kids stand up and be proud of their father. And this is what I work for, and this is what I'm going to continue to work for.
Any afterthoughts about the Cooney fight? Because a key expert in pay TV has told me on national television a Cooney return within the next year would gross, from all sources, over $100 million. What's your view?
First of all, Howard, it can't be like the first fight. They will have to put the money in the bank before the fight. I can't speculate on $100 million. I can't speculate on $25 million, which I want. But if it be a second fight, they will have to give me $25 million, put it in the bank, and we will beat Cooney up again, because he still can't accept the thing that Larry Holmes beat him. He tried to prove to the world that he can go 15, but he didn't go 15 rounds. And besides all of the garbage, the publicity that they put upon me prior to the fight, I don't feel that they should have done that. I don't feel that they should have done anything like that to any fighter.
You do respect Cobb as a person, don't you?
Yes, I think he's a very, very likable person. He's a great human being, and he's done a lot for boxing. He's helping boxing with the image, and you know, this is a good fight. It's not a whole lot of garbage in it or racial problems or anything. This is a fight, and this is the kind of fight I like. So you got to respect a man like that.
Good luck to you.
Thank you, Howard, but I'm still going to knock him out.
Exclusive is being brought to you by Datsun, who invites you to test drive the exciting new Pulsar NX. And by U.S. Armed Forces. It's a great place to start. And by Bud Light, with a clean, distinctive taste. A light beer worthy of the king of beer.
Astrodome. Champion Larry Holmes has just entered the ring, and Randy Tex Cobb preceded him. The two, well, they touched gloves as Larry went straight over to Tex, and it was in the manner that Larry described. There has been no ugliness connected with this pre-fight publicity. The whole question about the fight is, will it be a worthy match? We'll see. There is Tex Cobb, and there is his fighting record. And he weighed in at 234 1/4. And his body looked rather flaccid to me as I viewed him at the weigh-in. In the meantime, Larry Holmes seems to be in utterly superb shape, 217.5. Here's the ring announcer.
For the WBC World Heavyweight Championship, our timekeeper, Tommy Ferris, counting for the knockdown, Jack Joins. Judges at ringside, Chuck Hassett from California, Chuck Menker from Nevada, and A.D. Spider Bynum from Texas. The referee, Steve Croson. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the participants. Introducing first, the challenger, weighing 234 1/4 pounds from Abilene, Texas, wearing gold trunks with a record of 20-2, Randy Tex Cobb. And the current WBC World Heavyweight Champion, undefeated with a record of 40-0, weighing 217.5 pounds from Easton, Pennsylvania, wearing white trunks, Larry Holmes. 15 rounds for the WBC World Heavyweight Championship.
The introductions of the gladiators by the ring announcer. This fight to be fought under WBC rules and scoring system, unlike Tillis Page, which was fought under the Texas state rules. So, this fight will be scored by 3 judges. The referee, no voice in the scoring. 10-point must system of scoring. 3 knockdown rule waive. Mandatory 8 count, of course. No saving by the bell as you look at Larry Holmes eyeing the opponent in his familiar manner, and Cobb with a half smile on his face. No saving by the bell except at the end of the 15th round, which is scheduled for as a heavyweight championship fight. At the end of the 15th round, the bell of fight is over. We get ready for first round action. Cobb, a hulk of a man, a football player at Abilene Christian, locked for the likes of Wilbert Montgomery of the Philadelphia Eagles, and Clint Longley, the quarterback, briefly with the Cowboys. Larry doing the expected, the quick piston-like left jab. Stinging jab, you saw it there, and using the ring, steady movement. In a circular pattern in the beginning, he can move laterally, very swiftly and gracefully. Steve Crossan, veteran referee from Dallas, Texas. dominating the first round. Right to Larry's midsection, but with no snap. In point of fact, Tex Cobb, despite his number of KOs, is an arm puncher. There's not a lot of crispness or snap to his punches. Note Larry covering. Cobb trying to work to the midsection. 3 judges who will be doing the scoring. Spider Byron is Larry Holmes doing pretty much what he wants. Spider Bynum, correction, Chuck Hassett and Charlie Minker. Minker, a familiar name from Las Vegas. Hassett from Los Angeles. And Bynum from Dallas. They'll do the scoring. The crowd got whipped up a little bit as Larry almost lost his footing. Naturally, they're partisans rooting for the young man from Texas who now lives in New Jersey and trains in Smokin' Joe Frazier's gym. We're approaching, as you can see, the end of the first round. Live in the Astrodome, round 2 about to begin. Quick reminder, Auburn against Alabama live tomorrow, 12 o'clock Eastern time. The Big Bear not about to retire as he leads the Crimson Tide into action. Plus a special halftime report on black-haired football coaches. You know about Eddie Robinson, Grambling State University in Grambling, Louisiana. Now the fight. First round, Holmes did pretty much what he wanted. Cobb doing what he said in our talk that he would do. He keep pouring in. But he is not what you would call a class act as a fighter. No disrespect for the young man, a fine person. But we're talking professionally in boxing terms. Tell you this, you could hit Cobb from Natal Doomsday. As I mentioned during the presentation of the highlights of his boxing history, he reminds one of George Chuvalo. The late Rocky Marciano told me that if all fights were 50 or 100 rounds, Chuvalo would never be beaten. And one gets the same feeling about Tex Cobb. He's never been knocked off his feet. Holmes is a class act. He's a fighter who will fight purposefully. He's not in a hurry to impress anybody. He doesn't feel he has to do that anymore in his career. That was a strong right following a left. Excellent combination. There's the left again. Cobb throwing leather, but not connecting. Not very often. Larry covers well, picks off punches beautifully. Second round is counting down, and you saw a right and then a left and still another. All in rapid combination. Notice Cobb missing. There's the left again. And the end of round 2 at hand. All right, the bell for round 3. We are live at ringside the Houston Astrodome. Howard Cosell along with Don Chevrier. The first 2 rounds, Larry Holmes giving a boxing lesson to Randy Tex Cobb. Cobb with a bulldog determination, but so far little more than that. There are those who remember, however, the 7th round against Ronaldo Snipes, and they think, can it happen again? And the 7th round, the first time around, against Earnie Shavers. Of course, Shavers then a terrific puncher. So far, no sign of a cut on Cobb. Much publicized his tendency to cut. Matter we discussed with him in the interview. Maybe he taught something to Clint Longley about fighting. Remember Clint? Wanted to have it out with Roger Staubach, and Holmes scores heavily. More than halfway through the 3rd round. Larry's movement constant. Measuring Cobb. Excellent right following the left jab. Cobb keeps missing. There, a right got into the chest, but no snap on it. So far, the fight a reminder of Holmes against Scott Ledoux in Minneapolis. See Holmes counterpunching there, taking advantage of opportunity as Cobb's 2 attempted blows missed just as those 2 missed. And Holmes again coming to the end of round 3. Live at the Astrodome, round 4 underway. Holmes, thus far, a class professional against a club fighter in Randy Tex Cobb. Holmes picking off attempted blow after blow by Cobb, and then countering with rapid combinations. The left jab, maybe the dominant blow, but lately in combination, the right has scored. That time, Cobb scored with a left. There's that jab. Beats him to the punch easily with it. There was the Holmes right. Note how Cobb is always reaching, trying to get to Holmes. There's the left and right in combination again by Larry. Cobb scored well with a right, maybe his best blow of the fight. More than halfway through round 4. Crowd yelled over the Cobb right, which missed. Larry slipped that punch with his head and promptly counted. Look at that. True to his word, Holmes keeps coming. Oh, look at that. 2 consecutive rights. And a touch wobbly, the man who's never been floored. Cobb desperately trying to get to Holmes, but without the skills to do it. Goat Holmes continues to use the ring. And there is blood from the nose of Randy Tex Cobb. From the right nostril particularly. That way it hurts you because the blood goes into the mouth and affects the breathing. As we approach the end of the fourth round, and Larry Holmes just gives a boxing lesson. Round 5, live at the Astrodome, established in the first 4 rounds. Cobb is a tree trunk of a man. He can take a punch. Nosebleed in the 4th round. The Holmes left jab getting in repeatedly. Cobb reaching like that, unable to connect with any authority. Got in 1 right in the 4th round. That was his best blow of the fight. But an arm puncher. As that left beating Cobb to the punch again. The action utterly redundant. Crowd roared over a Cobb left. Yes, he's a native of Texas. Look at that combination. Holmes teeing off on Cobb. But the fella doesn't go down, does he? Cobb now trying to maul and brawl and get inside and some way get to Holmes. Had him backed into a corner. But not with real effectiveness. More than halfway through this round. Steadily, the attempted aggressor. Larry counterpunching beautifully. But then there's the opponent to consider. Cobb's right eye beginning to swell. It snapped back. And the left again. Not a pretty thing to see, is it? Especially with the pall that's cast over boxing by the recent death of Duke Koo Kim, other boxing deaths in the past, and the laissez-faire attitudes of the apologists for boxing. Is a brave man. We will return for more of this ABC Sports exclusive after this from our local station. Round 6, and Tex Cobb's left eye is half closed. The nosebleed in the 4th round was not reopened in the 5th. His head must have been carved out of Mount Rushmore, and he certainly has a granite chin. But is this a palatable match? You decide. Misses again and again, and purposefully Holmes responds with quick combinations as the will and the opportunity suit him. swing blows by Cobb that didn't connect. This crowd goes crazy if there's even an appearance of connecting. And so this round wears away, more than halfway through in the manner of all of the prior ones. It appeared that Cobb scored with a right, but count the lefts thrown and landed by Holmes. Look at that right lead. That really caught Cobb, but the fella doesn't waver, does it? It looked like he might go down, but he still hasn't. And one worries about the degree of punishment. All right, let's stay and take another look at that right lead by Holmes that set up his subsequent flurry of blows that made it look like Cobb might go down. Look at that. Right up and over Cobb's left, and he grimaced as you could see. Don Chevrier, look at that eye. What's your view of this, Don?
As you said, Howard, class on the part of Holmes and courage on the part of Cobb. He's taken quite a beating in there. No match for him, but you mentioned George Chuvalo, and the analogy is a fine one. Not since Chuvalo have I seen anybody take heavy punches like that and still stay in his feet. He's thrown everything with the kitchen sink at him. You wonder what Holmes will have to do to end it.
Being a Canadian, you remember Irving Ungerman, Chuvalo's manager. It was once said of Ungerman that Chuvalo would fight as long as Ungerman could stand.
That's about it.
We are getting ready for round 7. There is the bell, live from the Houston Astrodome. Round 7, only an historical reminder, 7th round, when Shavers floored Holmes and when suddenly, unexpectedly, Ronaldo snipes scored. You're looking at an instant replay of each round. You're right. Holmes has led up in this round to this extent. He has thrown far fewer punches and landed far less. But still there is that rapier-like left. Notice him measuring the opponent. Scoring heavily with a right as Cobb missed and left himself open. again. Imagine the number of combinations against this man's head, the punishment he's been taking. Steve Crossan of Dallas is the referee. The end of the round coming up. Over the head shot. Remember, tomorrow on ABC Sports, NCAA college football, Auburn against Alabama, live 12 o'clock Eastern time. Then the USA against Cuba in amateur boxing, 3:45 Eastern, 2:45 Central, 12:45 Pacific. They're the top two boxing teams in the world on an amateur level. And then ABC's Wide World of Sports, 5 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Central. The super heavyweight fight. Three-time Olympic gold medalist Teofilo Stevenson battles Terrell Biggs in a super heavyweight fight. The U.S. Grand Prix Motocross Motorcycle Championship, the World and U.S. Figure Skating Championships, plus a post-heavyweight championship fight report, Holmes against Cobb. I wish I could tell you it has been a scintillating contest. It's been anything but. Cobb, heavy-legged, ponderous, but with a bravery about him. However, we are not in the age of the Roman Colosseum and the lions. You can see Cobb's face, now all swollen. That left eye, can't see how there can be much, if any, vision left in that. Look at those two lefts, doubled up. Still moving. Cobb's head snapped back by that last left. Notice how Cobb's efforts are still reaching efforts, mainly pawing. First fight was a surprisingly good action fight. Tillis slightly outboxing Page. Page in desperate trouble in the second round as the round ended. Look at Holmes, just keeps pouring it on. And then suddenly, as has been Tillis's wont, in the 8th round, Gregg at 238 plus pounds caught Tillis and KO'd him. But it was a good fight. We are coming to the end of the 8th round. And by now, you could replay the first, the second, the third. Take whichever one you want. All right, it's round 9. And one of Cobb's handlers was smiling in the corner. I don't know why. This is a strong, decent man, Randy Tex Cobb. And I hate to see anybody take this kind of punishment. I mentioned the pall cast over boxing once again. My colleague Don Chevrier knows about that. We were together in Montreal the night of Leonard against Duran the first time when Gaetan Hart knocked out Cleveland Denny, who died a number of days thereafter. And Don, you can't measure the aftermath of a fight like this with this kind of punishment, can you?
No, and you would think that boxing people would be a lot more concerned after the events of a couple of weeks ago as to what goes on in a fight such as this. Cobb is taking a tremendous beating.
Crowd doesn't seem to understand. Cobb got in one right, they roared, and you saw Holmes answer with a punishing combination. Right to that head that has taken so many blows. And I think of a fighter of whom I'm deeply fond personally, Alexis Arguello, who's taken so much punishment ever since his second fight against Escalera in Rimini, Italy. And now he's talking about wanting to fight again after the prior affair when he lay unconscious for 3 minutes. Round 9. Holmes won't change his pattern. He'll keep using that left as he just did, snapping the opponent's head. He'll take no chances. The championship means too much to him. And you can't blame him for that. He's not responsible for the officials here. But it seems to me somebody should think about the degree of punishment. Look at that. Holding his glove up to his right cheek. Face swollen. This is brutalization. It's a personal opinion, but I think the referee should think about stopping this fight and fast. I mean, this is not right. And no, he won't go down. Courage of a lion, but why? I don't understand the smile on the face of a handler over there. Look at that. His whole face puffed and swollen. Your comment, Don?
I couldn't agree more, Howard. I think he's taken too many blows, and we might be getting into the danger zone. Fine young man, Randy Cobb. Nobody will question his courage, his stamina. He keeps on coming. He's been outclassed. There's no sense letting him stay and hope he gets a lucky punch in, because it isn't worth the price.
You're absolutely right. I'm sure Holmes feels the same way. Why don't they stop it? Go out, move, next day, look at the gas. Round 10. Davy Farrell finally stopped the Ledoux fight. Ledoux claimed that he had Holmes. He was punching himself out, which was an utter absurdity. And quite clearly, Larry, still full of movement, still, as the 9th round ended, the punishment he inflicted was simply enormous. He's just picking his spots. Like that. The referee is Steve Crossan of Dallas. I mentioned his name because he's got a big responsibility here. The crowd roars. Listen to that, a couple of pouring blows, and the fans cheer like it's affecting Larry Holmes at all, like there's any comparability of effectiveness of punches. Yes, Randy got in a left, so look at Holmes. More and more in these middle rounds. See those two Cobb blows? Both missed. Round 11, and it goes on and on. The referee, Steve Crossan. That head snapped back from the Holmes left. Again and again. Experience going into the 11th round. But it has to be a bitter experience, and Lord knows, maybe this man could stand up and take this for 50 rounds. What does that prove? Who knows what the after effects will be? Don't forget, tomorrow, 12 noon Eastern Time, the Big Bear and the Crimson Tide against troublesome Auburn. Let's see if we can pick up what goes on in Cobb's corner.
Now listen, just like you did that, Ron. Keep that jab going for him. Keep that jab going. Keep him going back. Can't get off him. Keep that jab on him, just like you would. All right. Keep that jab on him, just like you were doing. You understand? Keep him going back. Do you understand? Yeah. When he fires, go high hand. Now that jab's going up and down, up and down. It's nice. Try to fire your right hand a little faster, right? Okay. But now keep the jab going, right? Okay, I got it. Now the jab is working good for you, so keep it more balanced, right? Now keep it going, right?
Well, I'm kind of sorry we listened to that corner. Keep the jab going. There's one person in this fight's got a jab going again and again and again in every round, and it's like a recurring piston. And that's Holmes's jab. Poor Randy, he's just been pawing. Holmes picks off almost every attempt with his own gloves. Otherwise, the blows are short as Cobb reaches, as you see there. Nothing more to say. Something has to be repaired on Holmes's glove or tape. Eddie Futch runs up and proceeds to put tape on the glove, and there is Tex Cobb. The glove repaired, and we resume action. Go the lefts again, and then the right in combination, then another left. When the crowd was roaring earlier in the round before the glove repair, Cobb was rolling and rolling. Look at this. Holmes teeing off again. Kind of savagery doesn't deserve commentation. The end of the round. I'll tell you something, my friend Don Chevrier. This is as brutal a mismatch as I think I've ever seen.
Exactly. So one-sided, and I can't help but thinking we'll be seeing it tomorrow, the U.S. and Cuba in amateur boxing. And some of the safeguards that go into that. One rule I like very much, Howard, is the standing 8 count. This fight would have been over about 10 rounds ago on the basis of 3 standing 8 counts in 1 round under amateur rule. It does safeguard the fighters. It's non-existent here in the pro ranks. Maybe they should think about it.
Well, that's a good point. Also, optional headgear. Well, I've been through it. I've testified before the Congress any number of times.
And astute referees to step in and take charge.
Exactly. This fellow is from Dallas, Texas. Steve Crossan, the referee. And I don't understand his judgment or thinking. This is round 13. What is achieved by letting this man take this kind of beating for 15 rounds? Randy Tex Cobb. Just pushes him off, hits him with the left. Look at that right, left, left, right. Oh. Point of view of boxing, which is under fire, and deservedly so, this fight could not have come at a worse time. Round 14. Self-explanatory. One feels almost a concussion from the mere thud of Holmes's left on Cobb's head. This referee has no intention of stopping this fight. The blood all over Cobb's face now. I wonder if that referee understands that he is constructing an advertisement for the abolition of the very sport that he's a part of. The 15th and final round. Thank heaven.
Has got to be arm weary, nothing else.
As the prior round ended, Holmes patted Cobb. He certainly doesn't want to inflict further punishment on him.
You mentioned that previous round, Howard. Cobb turned 3 ways to finally discover where his corner was. You think he's not hurt?
Of course he is. Just let him miss and then started in with the right.
On his way to winning his 15th consecutive round. Trevor Burbick went 15 with Holmes, but didn't take anything resembling this kind of punishment.
No. Look at how swollen the poor man's face is.
Hurry up, clock. 90 seconds down. Example right there. The referee totally out of it, Howard.
I can't believe this referee. It's outrageous.
Thank goodness.
Finally over. Wasn't worthy of commentary in those last 5 rounds, which is why poor man is still smiling, and look how battered and beaten he is. what is achieved by such as this. Larry's not proud. He did his job, but he's not proud. He's a fine, decent man. He can't be happy about this. Where the sport of boxing is concerned, Don, and I've been involved in it for 3 decades and more. Called over 3,000 fights.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's the decision. Here is the decision. Judge Hassett scores it 149-136, Holmes. Judge Menker scores it 150-135, Holmes. Judge Bynum scores it 150-135,
That's a shutout.
Holmes. The winner by unanimous decision, and still undefeated world heavyweight champion, Larry Holmes.
I called it a shutout. So did Don Chevrier. Once again, the winner, unanimously, a classic mismatch, Larry Holmes. And there'll be no post-fight interviews. Not for this fight. Stay tuned for ABC News Nightline, which tonight will look at the increasing use of legalized lotteries to raise funds for states and cities, and to talk with some big winners about what it's like to become instant millionaires immediately following your late local news. Travel arrangements made through promotional fee paid by United Airlines. United flies more people to Hawaii than any other airline. That's what friendly skies are all about. This has been a presentation of ABC Sports, the leader in sports television.
112 and a quarter, 15 stone 2 and a quarter. And he weighed, that's just a pound heavier than he weighed when he defeated Muhammad Ali last October. So he's in good shape because he's 3 pounds lighter than when he fought Trevor Berbick recently. Leon Spinks is first introduced as the challenger.
In the red corner, weighed in today at 212 and 1/4 pounds. From Easton, Pennsylvania, the undefeated Easton Assassin, the WBC heavyweight champion of the world, Larry Holmes.
Well, in fact, it was Spinks who got the bigger cheers because he's now resident in Detroit. Spinks there he is, originally from St. Louis, and we get so much trouble he's now in the Joe Louis Stadium, and they're both spelt the same. And the referee, just calling him in there, Richard Steele from Los Angeles, a former fighter himself, and a good one, and a good referee too. Set for 15 rounds then, WBC Heavyweight Championship. Well, he's a bit more than a contender in a way, I suppose, as a former champion. And he's up there in the number 2 and 3 rankings, again, for those you may prefer to read. But he did it by beating Bernard Mercado for this one. Larry Holmes then making his 10th defense. He's had 8 successive knockouts or stoppages. Trevor Berbick, who's sitting just alongside me here, took him the full 15 rounds in Las Vegas, which you may have seen on ITV. So Larry Holmes now using the perimeter of the ring. He knows that he's going to be chased by Spinks. He calls Spinks the animal. And there's 1 or 2 sharp people around this ringside who've taken about 3-1 odds and had Spinks, because they say he's got a good chance of outgaming and tiring Holmes, who has shown a little bit of lack of stamina in some fights. Nonetheless, the class quality must be with the champion. And Spinks, as we know, is not the hardest of heavyweights to hit. Jerry Katia knocked him out in a round. when you think he won the World Championship in only his 8th fight, and now this is only his 15th, he's done pretty well. But there you are, the first bullying tactic. The crowd don't like that when the referee was in there right away, and quite rightly so, because the heads were bumping a bit. But they know that Spinks has got to get in close, halfway then through the opening round. A really electric atmosphere here in this tremendous arena. What a good start to a championship fight. No sizing up at all. They haven't fought before. Spinks has been training in a ski resort. He has a little bit of trouble training sometimes. He's been known to break out of barracks. Himself mugged occasionally and has once lost his gold teeth. Well, he might be short on skills, Spinks, but when it comes to heart, he's as big as anybody in the fight business. 27, Spinks, and Holmes is 31. That long right hand of Holmes is a good punch there. He does some damage with that. But I tell you, he really harasses as we come up to the end of the round. Spinks is closing on him almost like a fighting mugger. And the crowd on their feet at the end of that opening round. You can't ask for more action than that. And a quick look at the statistics. And that's the best time for them between rounds. We don't want to really anything to get in the way of the action. And he's decided to stand in his corner, Larry Holmes. I think he's going to need that school a little later on. Leon Spinks is taking his full minute's rest. Second round, and really such a fast pace in the opening round. You can't see this going 15, and if it is, they'll have to slow down a bit, I'm sure. You think of the bulk of these heavyweights, they're pushing it a bit. Certainly the fittest I've seen Leon Spinks since the first Ali fight, when I thought he definitely deserved the decision. A lot of British newspapermen didn't, but I certainly did at the ringside. The referee catching a punch or two himself if he doesn't get in quicker. A lot of American referees in America don't call break. They merely go in and maul them out. It's a bit risky. See, Holmes can tee off his punches as Spinks comes in. But it's the sheer strength and annoyance, the nuisance of the punch value of Spinks that wears a man down. Well, Larry Holmes had a few rough rides before. Earnie Shavers had him on the deck. He wobbled a bit with Mike Weaver, whom he defeated, and then he got up and defeated Shavers, and he may have to come from behind and fight his heart out for this one. But really, Holmes can't miss Spinks. He comes at him really square on, but he's just eating up the punches, Spinks, almost ignoring the pain. And with every good punch of Spinks, the crowd really cheering, echoing them in all the time. the tactics of Spinks, they really are obvious. He's got to try and tire Holmes out. And really, if the champion's lost any appetite for the business, this is the perfect style opponent for him. But he still represents that little bit of extra class, doesn't he, in the last 30 seconds. And I think the bell was accidentally struck there. What a spiteful fight this is. And there it is, Holmes having to fight his way out in Spinks' corner. He can't hit and run the whole time. Coming up to the end of the second then. Well, it didn't take long then for Holmes to sit down, or was he have another look at the records and wait. He has a 15-inch reach advantage there, Holmes, not doing a lot with it. In that corner there, it really was exciting, and even in the slow motion there, the speed of those punches for big fellows is a good one, isn't it? Round 3, and what a pace for a heavyweight championship. There's no doubt that back in those so-called good old days, especially in the bare-knuckle period, they stood and looked at each other for long periods, which is why you had fights lasting 45 rounds. But like everything else in life, it's got a lot quicker, the fight game. Well, it's not easy for referee and judges to sort this one out, although the referee, for the first time in the state of Michigan, doesn't vote the WBC rules now. All 3 judges score, the referee merely in control, which is a bad idea. Now, he's ruled that a slip. I think there's somebody treading on the toes by the look of it there. He was caught awkwardly. But Holmes knew it was. He just walked away. Well, I tell you, how do you stop a freight train coming at you? Because that's what Spinks is. A lot of power in that left hook of Holmes. Really close up at the ringside here. You can see it shuddering right through Spinks' body. Now there's an opportunity. He just fell into him. He threw his body at him, Spinks, and he was hurt a bit. Tried to use his weight, but he's dazed. But fighting his way back. And that really was a punch that Spinks didn't see, and neither did half the crowd. We'll talk about a challenger trying to fight his way bravely out of trouble. He's having to do it here in the 3rd round, and he's got to go down. Well, the start of that punch, it really looked almost an ordinary type of punch. He's getting the shout in his ears. The crowd are going crazy. And he's heard the count, but he's dazed there, Spinks. He's letting him fight on. But if Holmes can call himself a great champion, he's got to stop his man in this round. If Spinks can get it together, it's too early in the round. That's the problem. But I tell you, what a big heart he's got. He's hurt, but he's fighting back. Right in his own corner, and somebody's thrown a towel in. And that shouldn't be accepted, but it has been accepted. That did surprise me, because that was ruled out at one time in case a member of the crowd did it. But the Spinks corner are obviously not complaining. Don King's getting up there having an argument with somebody. I'm not sure that they're too pleased that that happened so quickly. They wanted the referee to stop that. There's a big argument going on in Spinks' corner. And there's the look at the replay there with Spinks pinned in that corner. Some of these punches, even the wind going past, must have hurt Spinks. Catches him with the elbow, straightens him up, and that right hand punch that didn't come very far, but it was far enough. Spinks tries to fight back at this stage, tries to get out of the corner, but that downward punch there, Spinks trying to duck, but misses it, and again measuring him. There it is, side of the head. That really numbs the boxer. Sometimes they're better off on the point of the chin. That one got away, and still Spinks is really rooted to the canvas, but that was on the button, so was that one, and it's only a question of time now before the knees buckle. The referee waiting to pounce on that right hand, did the damage. So Holmes now has got Spinks really trapped in the corner. He hasn't recovered from that first knockdown. It's just raining punches in at will, and Spinks doesn't know where he is. And then comes the towel from the trainer, which is an unusual procedure in a championship fight. But by then, really, it's all over. See, you can come again. You'll be okay. You've done it before, you know.
I'm coming back. I'll be back.
It was a great start. The opening 2 rounds were tremendous. But you got caught in your own corner there. Try to fight your way out, and it just didn't happen.
It didn't come out. Just go by. He's devil, but you know, what can I say?
Thanks for talking to us.
Leon, were you
So Larry Holmes successfully and impressively defends his WBC title. His record still perfect, 38.
Challenge him. Come on, Leon. I'm stronger, I'm bigger. I don't have to move from you. Come on in. He says fight to him. It's a fight. So we fought.
And you started quickly getting that left jab in.
Left hand after the right hand. Follow. My brother Jake, he predicted the 3rd round with a right hand again. So Leon wanted to get me on the rope and try to work. He started very fast. And I knew it would be a matter of time because he would run in to punches because he was running into punches very early.
You spun off the ropes and now back to ring center. And then the way it wound up, you had Leon on the ropes.
Yes.
That was a slip. There you pushed him off. That was a proper call.
Right. Then he came charging and ran into a right hand. See, all his punches he throwing was blocked.
Picked off very well, I must say. That you did.
And he started throwing, and he ran right into a right hand. See, I was doubling up left hook and right hand, too.
That's right, the left to the belly and then up to the head. You doubled on the left. Very good. Now you begin to get. There's that right.
That's the right hand. That was the right hand. That step in.
Right there, you knew he was hurt.
Yeah.
That's when you stood flat-footed, measured him with the left and teed off with the right.
Hand right there. See, he's hurt. There's another right to the body. There's another. Another right hand.
I knew he was hurt.
See, he was hurt right there. They didn't.
I knew it. I said, stop the fight. Stop the fight.
All right, Don, please, let Larry talk.
And he went down. He was. I didn't think he was going to get up.
Now, you thought it should have been stopped
Yeah,
now.
I didn't think he was going to get up. But when he got up, they continued to let me bang away on Leon. Like, kill him, go ahead.
And you didn't want to do it.
And I didn't want to do it, but
Did
I have
you
to
say
do
anything to Richard Steele, the referee?
I said afterwards. I said up afterwards, what's going on? What's going on, I said. Leon trying to fight back, but he can't fight.
Pinioned in the corner there, just taking the blow.
Right hand and body, measuring him hard, right after right, body punches.
Well, it's unfortunate. It's been an unfortunate career for Leon. After those 2 flashes of glory, the gold in Montreal, the night he beat Ali. But our congratulations to you, Larry. We're back on camera now. There's another young man in this arena tonight. His name is Jerry Cooney.
Howard.
And you won him.
I'm going to slap his face and bring him over here. And I don't even want to talk about it, Cooney, until you put his name on the contract. You come over here, we're going to fight right now.
Come on.
Right now, come over here. Come on. Right here.
Well, here we go again.
Come over here, I'm going to fight right now.
No, left.
So an early and edgy meeting between the champion and the man who finished off Ken Norton in just 54 seconds, Jerry Cooney. Could he be Holmes' next opponent in the ring? Well, last night it was reported that the promoter, Don King, offered Cooney $5 million to face the champ. But Cooney says he has a fight arranged already with the WBA champion, Mike Weaver. Bob Sheridan asked King what was happening.
Well, what it is just ludicrous. It's only a machination. I think that he got to recognize and realize the fact that Fatty Weaver is just the way out. He's dodging the real issue. The issue is the heavyweight championship, which is Larry Holmes, who knocked out Weaver in Madison Square Garden. So Weaver's really not a champion.
So therefore, he said he don't respect Larry. We're not asking him to respect or like or dislike, but we asking him to do is to fight. And they go, both of them go to the bank. We're not dealing in semantics and what you want to do with who likes who and the amenities. We're talking about a prize fight. He's 24-0. He's got a devastating punch. He just annihilated an old man named Ken Norton. Now it's time to come and take on the real heavyweight champion of the world and test his mettle, and then he can do two things in one night. He can prove that he's one of the best heavyweights in the world, and at the same time simultaneously become the heavyweight champion of the world. Come on, Coney, we need you, Jack. Quit jiving.
Quit jiving. $5 million.
Welcome again to Victory Yard and to Friday Night at the Fights with Gil Clancy, trainer, matchmaker, and commentator. Gil, thank you for being with us. You've been a trainer, or you started being a trainer 50 years ago. How did you get into the business?
Well, this is right after World War II. I went to NYU studying phys ed. Part of the phys ed program was boxing. I had boxed in the Army, so I was a little more experienced than the other kids in the phys ed class. And they got a job offer in the Job Placement Center that the PAL needed a boxing coach. And they called me in and asked me if I'd take the job. And I took the job, started out $1,000 a year in South Jamaica, 160th Street and Old South Road.
And was it then that you found your first good fighter?
Yes, that was Ralph Tiger Jones. And he was a real tough fighter. Didn't put him in the Golden Gloves, didn't win the gloves. I thought it was a bad decision. He fought a Navy guy right after the war. But I talked him into continuing boxing. I said, you have a lot of talent. Wound up beating 5 world champions, including Ray Robinson, and never got a title shot.
After Jones, the first champion you trained was Emil Griffith.
Correct.
He had 3 fights with Benvenuti, with Nino Benvenuti.
Right.
3 classic fights.
Right.
How did they go?
Well, I'll tell you, the first time he was going to fight Benvenuti, Griffith was the champion, and I flew over to Italy with Teddy Brenner to scout Benvenuti. Go to show you when you think you're an expert. And I remember Teddy Brenner after the fight calling Harry Markson in the garden and saying, Benvenuti's the right guy for Griffith. His chances are slim and none. But they're forgetting that Benvenuti had been the Olympic champion and everything. He came over to New York, fought Griffith in the garden, a close fight, and Benvenuti wound up with the championship.
And then you had the rematch.
Then we had the rematch, but by the time the rematch came, I thought I had figured out how he should fight Benvenuti. And in the rematch, basically, we had him get off right from the very beginning and work behind his left jab. You know, Griffith wasn't a tall guy, but his timing was so good he could fight a taller guy, and he'd come behind their jab, and they'd pull it back, and his jab was right in their face. And that's what he did to Benvenuti. He started busting him up right from the first round to the second fight.
And how did Benvenuti react?
Well, actually, he just was, he couldn't do anything. He just couldn't solve that left jab coming at him. And once you start nailing guys with good left jabs, then you can feint them and hit them with your real big punches.
But yet when they fought the third time, Benvenuti came back.
Third time, another story. First round, I don't think he threw a punch for the first 3 rounds. But even then, the fight was very close. Going into the 15th round was anybody's fight. Griffith won the 15th round, in my opinion, from here to China. He almost knocked Benvenuti out in the 15th round. One of the officials gave the 15th round to Benvenuti, and he took the championship back to Italy by 1 point.
That was that one. We're going to take a look at a fight, one of Gil Clancy's later fighters, Jerry Quarry against Earnie Shavers, after we pause. Welcome again to Friday Night at the Fights with Gil Clancy and some of the great fighters that he trained over the years. We're going to look next at the fight between Jerry Quarry, trained by Gil Clancy, and Earnie Shavers in December of 1973. Now, this was a fight after your man had lost twice to Ali by this point. What was the background going into the fight?
Well, the background, it was really bitter feelings between both camps with racial overtones. And a lot of things was said. Both fighters trained at the Playboy Club in New York, and we would bunk into each other. And a couple of times there was almost scuffles. But I knew it was going to be a tough fight. But I thought that Jerry, taking the great punch that he took, I thought that he'd be able to do a good job.
That must have been a trainer's delight, having your fighters train at the Playboy Club.
Well, we were a little busy with the fighters.
Don King got involved in this. King he had Shavers.
Well, Don King, in those days, had 2 fighters. Ray Anderson, who was a hot shot light heavyweight from the Midwest, and Earnie Shavers. Now, I had Jorge Ayamada fight Ray Anderson and knock him out, and then Jerry Quarry and Shavers.
And was King stirring up the unrest before the fight? And of course, King was not well known then. This was before Zaire.
He certainly was stirring up things. It was in the papers every day, which is good hype for the fight if you want to look at it that way. But I thought he went a little overboard. But anyhow, we got the result that we wanted. And I thought that should have ended King in the business. He had 2 fighters, both of them got knocked out. Where was he going to go from there?
Okay, let's take a look at that fight. December of 1973, Jerry Quarry against Ernie Shavers.
What a hand Floyd is getting. Always one of the most popular fighters of all time, Floyd Patterson. His wife is here and she's very proud. Listen to this hand for Floyd.
This young man in 1960 won the Olympic gold medal in Rome, then known as Cassius Marcellus Clay, the former heavyweight champion of the world and the people's champ of Louisville, Kentucky, now known as Mr. Muhammad Ali.
Muhammad Ali. The garden is in a bedlam. He's getting a tremendous hand. He looks good, doesn't he, Floyd? He does.
The Olympic gold medal in Tokyo, 1964. Another world heavyweight champion from Philadelphia, Smoking Joe Ferguson.
Uh-oh. They may have a... We've got to break this up.
From Philadelphia.
Oh, no. Joe, how are you? Just a quick question. How do you feel?
I feel good. I got my weights down. I'm all ready to go. I would say another 5-6 weeks, I'll be in tip-top shape.
How are you going to make out with Muhammad Ali?
I'm going to be ready. I'm going to give him something to think about on the 20th of January.
Joe, good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And ladies and gentlemen, last but far from least, United States gold medal winner in Mexico City in 1968. Now,
here comes George Foreman.
Heavyweight champion of the world, Holmes, California, George Foreman.
Heavyweight champion of all the world, George Foreman. Shaking hands with Floyd Patterson.
That's the first time I've ever shook hands with Floyd Patterson. That was a great fighter, great champion.
He got a great hand. George, everybody wants to know how you feel.
Feeling real good now, man. I see a lot of heavyweights around now, so I don't have no reason to be going without fights.
You know, I think you've been criticized unjustly for not fighting in the last year. Was it your fault?
No, I like to fight. Fighting is the only way I can make a living. You know, if I don't get no fights, then I can't eat.
How about the winner of tonight's fight between Quarry and Shavers?
I think that's a probability that I'll be fighting one of those guys.
Good luck, George.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Floyd, it must be heartwarming to get a reception like you got. You're always so popular here and all over.
Well, it is, Don. I don't know, it makes you feel good that people haven't forgotten.
Oh, they'll never forget you. As a matter of fact, you're still on the active list, aren't you?
Yes, I am, but I haven't had a fight since 72 September.
Well, here's Joe again.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, we've seen all of the preliminaries. We've seen everything that's interesting, exciting, colorful, and all the rest. Now for the real thing. Here at Madison Square Garden on January the 28th, the fight takes place in the arena right here in New York. Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier in the bout. Make your reservations, get your tickets, be here on January 28th. You've waited a long time, now see it. Muhammad Ali versus Smoking Joe Frazier for the real right as the #1 heavyweight challenging and contender. Here on the 28th of January. Get your tickets, don't be left out.
Tired of waiting for the principals in the main event to put in an appearance. Tell you about Jerry Quarry. He's on the brink of a heavyweight title shot against Foreman if he can dispose of Ernie Shavers convincingly tonight. The California battler, after some early disappointments, has fought his way back to #4 among the heavyweights. And here comes Jerry Quarry. Jerry was born in Los Angeles, May 15th, 1945. The 6' 1/2" boxer puncher has won 47 of his 57 fights with 6 losses and 4 draws. He has stopped 28 opponents and was halted 4 times, twice by Muhammad Ali, once by Joe Frazier in a title bout, and once by George Chuvalo. He has lost only to the best. On the plus side, he has beaten off friend Floyd Patterson and also Ron Lyle and Mac Foster when they came to Madison Square Garden undefeated. Ernie Shavers is on his way in the ring now. Here comes Ernie. He's the question mark in this fight. We know what Quarry can do, but how about the man you're looking at now? We know he can hit, but can he take it? His KO of Jimmy Ellis was a sensation, but just before he KO'd Jimmy at the Garden with 1 punch last June, Ellis seemed to stagger him. If Shavers can hit Quarry solidly, he's got a great chance. Ernie has won 46 of his 48 bouts with 2 losses, 1 a KO by Ron Stander, but that was long ago. Now get this, Shavers has scored 45 knockouts in his 46 wins, 18 of them coming in the first round. He's won 34 fights in a row, and he's ranked #6 in the division. Ernie stands 6 feet 1 inch tall and was born in Garland, Alabama, August 31st, 1945. He now lives in Warren, Ohio, and he's the same age as Jerry Quarry. Ernie Shavers.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the feature event on this evening's boxing program. The Madison Square Garden, world's most famous sporting arena. The distance, 12 rounds. At stake, an improved position as an outstanding challenger for the World's Heavyweight Championship. The officials, assigned by the New York State Athletic Commission, the timekeeper, Freddie Aviatello. The judges are Bill Reck and Jack Gordon. Counting for the knockdowns at the bell, Herbie Cronowitz. Third man in the ring at this time, Mr. Arthur McCanty. The principals in this feature event of the evening, coming to us from Cypress, California, at 202 pounds even. He's wearing green trunks, trimmed in white, Jerry Quarry. Jerry Quarry.
Big hand for Jerry.
And from Warren, Ohio, 210 pounds even. He's wearing blue trunks trimmed in white. Earnie Shavers, 12 rounds.
Shavers was smiling at Quarry, and Quarry was very serious. Here are the instructions by the referee.
This contest for 12 rounds will be governed by the rules of the New York State Athletic Commission. We expect you to obey these rules. I'll be here to enforce them. In the event of a knockdown, you must take an 8 count. 3 knockdowns in 1 round will automatically end the contest. Now, you men break when you're told to break. You will be penalized if you do anything illegal. Shake hands now. One question.
Gil Clancy asking a question about the height of Shavers' trunks. The referee lowers them a little. We're ready now for the punch fest. Quarry the green trunks, Shavers the blue trunks. Referee Arthur McCanty, the bell, round 1 is scheduled for 12. Quarry makes the first clinch. Shavers scoring heavily. Shavers warned about grabbing behind the neck. Shavers backed away. He might have been hurt. He is hurt, apparently.
Yeah, he's hurt.
More than a minute to go in the round. Shavers is in trouble. Down goes Shavers. He's taking a mandatory 8 count. 5, 6, 7. The referee talks to him. He's in Quarry's corner. He doesn't seem to know where he is.
I think they got to stop it.
The bout is over. The bout is over. The referee has stopped the contest. The winner by a knockout in the first round, Jerry Quarry. We'll have a replay of the first round, I'm sure, and we'll have an interview with Jerry Quarry, the winner.
Where does courage begin? In the body, the mind, or in the heart? At American General Financial Group, we're here to help the ones who never give up their dreams with retirement services, investments, life insurance, and consumer loans. So courage is crowned with the greatest victory, to live and be well and be happy. American General Financial Group. Live the life you've imagined.
Hey, Ray, can you believe that they got Marcus Camby to do the commercial for ESPN the magazine and not me and you?
I don't know, Chris, but, Marcus was pretty good. But we've been perfect for this part.
I know, especially we both subscribers to ESPN the magazine, and we both got the free fleece jacket.
Call now for ESPN the magazine. Just $1 an issue, and the fleece pullover is free.
Chris, we need to work on this paddle yo-yo thing. I think that's what ESPN the magazine wants.
Yeah, you're probably right, Ray.
Call now.
Is your socket set always missing the one piece you need? Are you tired of wasting time searching for the right size wrench for the job? Well, now there's a new invention that makes all other ratchets and wrenches obsolete. Introducing the Wonder Wrench from Caswit, the revolutionary new tool that automatically adjusts to fit any size nut or bolt instantly. Metric, standard, it doesn't matter. The Wonder Wrench combines the flexibility of a combination wrench with the convenience of a ratchet. This baby grabs on and won't let go till you say so. Look, ordinary combination wrenches have to be repositioned after every turn, but the Wonder Wrench stays in continuous contact, making any job faster and easier. How about jobs where a ratchet and socket won't fit? The Wonder Wrench's 90-degree swiveling heads get into those hard-to-reach places with ease so you can torque with confidence. And what about stripped or broken bolts? The Wonder Wrench eats these for lunch and grips where others slip.
Doesn't matter whether it's standard, metric, accessible, inaccessible, angular, this does it all.
The Wonder Wrench is great because I always have the right size for the job, and those hard-to-reach places just aren't hard to reach anymore.
Call now and get your Wonder Wrench for just $19.95. So revolutionary, it's patented. So durable, it's backed by Caswit's ironclad limited lifetime warranty. By calling now, we'll also send you as a special bonus the Magnetriever, a $10 value free. With a mega charged super magnet on one end and extra long adjustable shaft, it's perfect for retrieving those irreplaceable nuts, bolts, screws, and parts that your fingers can't reach. Try the Wonder Wrench and Magnetriever out for 30 days. If they don't instantly become the busiest tools in your toolbox, just send them back for a full refund of the purchase price, no questions asked.
This is the only wrench I need.
Don't get caught empty-handed. Call and get your hands on a Wonder Wrench now.
Jerry Quarry picks up his new manager, Gil Clancy. Here comes the announcement.
That was a spectacular win for Jerry Quarry. A sensational win. I think now Jerry Quarry will probably go right in line for a shot at the heavyweight champion, George Foreman.
21 seconds. First round. Referee McCanny stops the contest. Winner is Jerry Quarry.
All right, they're going to show a rerun now of the Jerry Quarry spectacular first round, one-round knockout, Earnie Shavers. Earnie Shavers, I must say, takes some tremendous punches. I never really thought he could take that much of a punch. But Jerry Quarry was hitting him round. I don't know how many shots he took before going down.
But Shavers did hit him there. Yeah, Quarry says he wasn't hit. He was hit.
Oh, he was hit several times. Yeah, there's a left hook. Another left hook. Wow. He took some punches.
I think the referee was smart to stop it, Floyd.
I think so too, John. I have to say, despite the way Earnie Shavers was hurt, he continued to try.
Let's get Jerry over here. Here's Jerry Quarry. Jerry, I gotta say, you look like Jack Dempsey in there. Jerry Quarry.
Hey, he's got a hard hit. I hurt both hands.
You hurt both hands? Did he hurt you?
No.
I thought he did.
He didn't hit me.
He hit you, Jerry.
Early in the win.
Jerry, come on.
Hey,
We don't want an argument
he
here.
don't have one. He didn't hit me at all with any decent shot at all.
What do you think hurt him most by you?
Left hook.
The left hook.
Yeah.
Here's Earnie Shavers. Ernie, come on over here, huh? Here's Earnie Shavers, who must be very disappointed.
I just got hit.
Ernie, what happened?
I just got hit with a shot and never got recovered.
You got over there in the corner. You didn't seem to know what was going on.
I got hit with a good shot and couldn't recover, that's all.
You hit him a good shot.
Yeah, he's a very good fighter. He hit me with a good shot. He's a very good fighter.
All right, Ernie, thank you. Good luck. Here's Gil Clancy. Gil, I got to offer you congratulations. You may even be manager of the year or something, because you've done wonders with Quarry. He's got a new zest for fighting, hasn't he?
Well, he sure has, Don. He worked real hard for this fight. We were very disappointed with the postponements, and the grind of waiting and waiting and waiting. I guess he just had to get it over with like this,
Welcome again to Friday Night at the Fights with boxing trainer, matchmaker, and commentator Gil Clancy. Gil, Jerry Quarry didn't have to work very long that night against Ernie Shavers. What was Don King's reaction?
Well, there were so many bitter words said in training that I had gone up to him before the fight. And I said, after my guy knocks your guy out, I want you to come and apologize to me in the ring. So I went over to him right after the knockout. I said, okay, come on. Turned around, walked right away.
Not too surprising that Don did that. Now, after that, you trained Quarry for a while. He had a few more fights the next year and a half. Then he retired. Then he came back 3 times, once late in the 70s, once in the 80s, and once even in 1992. Did he stay out there too long?
Oh, absolutely. He certainly was in no condition in any of the 3 comeback fights. He shouldn't have fought those fights. No question about that.
Now he is in very bad condition. Do you think the boxing had anything to do with that?
Absolutely not. I think he has Alzheimer's disease, and anybody can get Alzheimer's disease.
Of course, anybody can get hurt in the ring, too. When you see a fighter who you think is staying out there too long, and when you think he's risking permanent damage, what do you do?
Well, typically it happened to Mike Quarry, who I was managing and training. Mike was a very, very good fighter, but he couldn't punch. But so what would happen, all the fights would go the distance, and he would take a lot of punishment during the fights. So I came up to him, I said, Mike, you've had a great career. I said, it's time to call it quits. And he promised me he would. Next thing you knew, I was getting a phone call from some guy down in Florida. Mike went down and signed with him. He didn't want to hear that he couldn't fight anymore, and had quite a few fights after that.
Why won't they quit?
Well, they love the sport, for one thing, and I love the adulation. They like to be noticed on the street. I think that's basically what it is. To this day, you find it with Evander Holyfield, for example. Why should he be fighting? He's got all the money in the world. Couldn't spend it all in one lifetime. But they just love being out there, being called champ.
There's another guy, George Foreman, who you trained. And we're going to take a look after we pause. We're going to look.
Fight to Duran now. Pack those old legs up. That's the way to win this fight.
Here it is, Duran pressing. At least a couple of punches at a time.
All right, help punch.
Duran wants it good now. He can get this good right now, Gil. Gonzalez is really hurting. His leg folded when he threw a punch. He's really hurting. Duran's body attack, perhaps taking its toll. He just landed a good combination underneath, but Gonzalez comes out the rope, scoring to the face of Duran. Now Duran again digging at all times.
Gonzalez dangerous at all times. He was boxing Louis Resto in Madison Square Garden, getting licked, and knocked Resto cold with one punch in the 9th round. Don't never sell him short.
Duran scoring at will to the body, however, now.
All right, break. Step back. Punch.